is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, May 3rd. Wow. I'm Tori here with Lindsay and Jeff. Let's get started. All right, there's a growing problem of people faking, ready for this, or forging vaccine cards. So as many of you know, if you've gotten vaccinated, they give you one of those vaccine cards. And as more places open up and require proof of vaccination, turns out those cards are a hot commodity and super easy to fake. So this is a card that one person was able to buy on the online store Etsy. It has his name, but all the rest of the information on it is fake. Some online forums are even trading information about how to forge the cards. It's important to note this is a crime to sell, buy, or forge a vaccine card, according to the Department of Justice. I did find it a little flimsy. I was like, this is all? Like, I thought there might be an embedded
like a chip or something?
A chip, because at some point in 20 years, it'll be a chip in our body.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought that we would have like some type of digital, like
scan?
Yeah, something that we can use digitally to show.
Right.
I think once they start telling people you can't travel without this vaccine card, like actually traveling with a paper card seems really antiquated. So I'm hoping that they'll figure out a way that people can just like scan and say I got vaccinated, or figure it out through pulling up health records, not just like a paper thing that you can shred.
Think, right?
I hope so.
It's very telling to like where we are in society that people want to take like the easy way out, and this seems actually harder, to be honest with you.
Right.
And they want to just get around the system and be like, oh, look at me, I didn't get a vaccine, but look at me, I got a card. In what world are you cool? Just go get the vaccine, man. Just go get it and stop worrying about things. Everyone like wants the shortcuts in life. Like, I just want to go right to the top. Nobody wants to work their way anymore. If they don't get what they want, it's someone else's fault, not on them. So I don't know. It's
You're sounding like an old man, and I really appreciate it.
Listen, I appreciate people who take the bus to work and take the train to work, and they work hard, right?
I totally get.
I missed that.
Totally
and
get
I
what
read
you're
a story
saying.
about somebody that got arrested for it was either faking the vaccine or faking a COVID test, and I was like, okay, well, this is where we're at right now. People are going and scamming and getting to another country, and then they're like, this is not real, and now you're in a foreign jail. So,
and just so you know, if you're faking the vaccine card, you're putting yourself in more danger, because the people around you who are vaccinated can still maybe transmit, but you have no protection. So it's
on
much
you.
worse.
It's so silly.
It's so silly. All right, for the first time in more than 400 days, Los Angeles reported no COVID deaths.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. And last night there was a giant concert there called Vax Live. Prince Harry was there in his first appearance back in the States since his grandfather's funeral. He got a standing O, and he told the crowd why it is so important that the vaccines are distributed across the globe. Let's take a look at Harry.
Because this pandemic will not end unless we act collectively with an unprecedented commitment to our shared humanity. The vaccine must be distributed to everyone, everywhere. We cannot rest or truly recover until there is fair distribution to every corner of the world.
Feels like he's running for Senate. What a great job. The crowd was full of vaccinated healthcare workers and first responders who were invited to attend to thank them for their work. Now, J.Lo was one of the performers. She brought her mama on stage to sing with her. Check out this rendition of the one and only Sweet Caroline. I love it. Speaking of J.Lo, check out these paparazzi photos from over the weekend. Yep, that's J.Lo and Ben Affleck riding together in the same SUV. They were both at the concert, but now there are all sorts of rumors about the two possibly rekindling their romance. Vax Live will air this Saturday on CBS and ABC. So first, let's talk that, but also Bennifer.
One thing that J.Lo is going to do is move on. That's something that's consistent in her life. She will move on.
Quickly.
And so she did run it back. I'm not a fan of like running things back. I think when it's done, it's done. But she moved on, and I am like, wow, J.Lo still is doing her same routine from back in the day. And I appreciate it because most people are like, okay, when you turn a certain age, you're done. You're not dating. And J.Lo's like breaking all those rules every time.
Yeah, nobody wants a G Lee part 2. That's off the table.
G Lee was terrible.
Okay, nobody wants that. I'm sorry, you're right. She's moving on. They're just friends, and people love to speculate. If you have a name like Benifer or Brangelina,
Oh, you don't think they're going?
Everyone wants you back together.
You don't think they're together?
No.
I definitely think
they're friends. They're friends.
come
She's going through a
on.
breakup. You lean sometimes on old exes or old flames.
And that's not a friendship when you lean in like that right after you break up with somebody. You usually rekindling.
All right, we'll see where it goes. I think no, but you guys think yes, okay? I also think the concert wasn't going well for J.Lo, and I think every concert's like, hey, it's not going well. Play Sweet Caroline. And then everyone's like, yeah,
Everybody, it's so true. At every bar, they're like, Sweet Caroline.
But wasn't it cool that she brought her mom, though? It was like a sign that I can be around my mom. You know, she's singing the song with her mom.
Very cool.
And it's
Great
like
point.
people haven't been around their moms for a really long time during COVID, and she's at a concert packed with people like, we're safe, we're vaccinated. How y'all doing?
That's
And I
a really
love
I was making a joke. I'm sure the concert went well, and I thought it was very cool she brought her mom out there.
I hadn't thought at that point. I haven't seen my mama in over a year. I'm going to see her in June. And you're right. It does bring you hope. Also, Sweet Caroline, based off of Caroline Kennedy. Did you know that?
No.
He's fallen asleep. Before we go to break, we have to give a big DBL shout out to a good Samaritan who sprang into action at the scene of this accident. One of the vehicles involved was hanging over the side of the bridge, and a baby had been ejected from the car and fell into the bay. Now, the good Samaritan immediately jumped over the guardrail into the bay, rescuing the baby. Multiple people, including the baby, are still in the hospital. This is fight or flight 101. You either go or you run. And I'm so glad that they had someone that was going to just like Superman, Spider-Man this. I mean, that's a superhero. Don't you agree?
I agree.
Why are you laughing at me?
I was laughing at your fight or flight that you just gave 2 other examples of fight or flight. It's fight or flight. Either you go or you run.
Right.
What?
you go into it and
I got
save.
you, but
Okay.
You just said fight or flight again.
Yeah, I know.
Every time we watch these stories, I'm like, man, I hope that I would do that.
You would.
I hope that I would do that. These people are like so extraordinary. They're like great jumping into like dangerous way and just like saving somebody. But I really appreciate it. It brings me so much joy when we see these stories. But I'm like, I think that I would freeze for a second, but I hope that I would be able to react like this.
It's true. They say, psychologists, it's flight, fight, or freeze. Some people can't do anything. I think I would be like, let's go.
You would jump in the water?
100%.
Then who's going to save you?
Oh, coming up on DBL.
I hope you can swim.
Meet a modern family that's defying relationship and parenthood norms. These are the 3 men loving and living together while raising 2 babies. And a Snow White attraction at Disneyland is getting a lot of PC pushback, why a portion of the ride is making some people uncomfortable. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning provided by
This is The chicken sandwich wars started back in 2019 when Popeyes released that new sandwich. People fell in love and posted about it on social media a lot. 2 weeks after it dropped, Popeyes announced they sold out. Let's just say its competitors noticed, and everyone from McDonald's to KFC launched their own chicken sandwich. Sales continue to soar despite McDonald's describing it as a tightening in the domestic chicken supply. But according to the Washington Post, we can't blame all this on the battle of the fast food big boys. Poultry companies say their biggest problem is finding labor. Some chicken processors were hit hard when coronavirus spread through their plants. And the pandemic has also increased the demand for fried chicken as people turn to comfort food that was easy to deliver. Then there was the winter storm in Texas back in February. It didn't just hit the Lone Star State. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Mississippi were all affected. Some big states for poultry farms. Those farmers dealt not only with extreme cold, but also power outages, resulting in some big losses. All of this adds up to a chicken shortage for all of us.
Welcome back to DBL. Big shout out to our coworkers working from home during the pandemic. We miss you guys. Oh, Angelica. Hey, Joe. All right. Disneyland is back open in California, and it turns out they recently revamped their classic Snow White ride, but not everybody's happy about it. So let me explain. The ride ends with the True Love's kiss scene, which some argue is very troublesome, mainly because Snow White is unconscious and cannot give consent for the prince to kiss her. Now, of course, it's the prince's kiss which breaks the curse and saves Snow White's life. But remember, the two had never met previously. So, do you think this scene is troublesome, and should it be included in the story, even if it gives kids little mixed messages about consent? Everyone's waiting to talk.
Because I just feel like we are like nitpicking so bad. It's like she would just have died. So is that a good message to send to kids too? Eat an apple, die? Like, you know, so
yeah, maybe talk about the apple as the lesson, not like, I mean, I'm very PC, I get it, but I think this is going too far. You know that fairy tales are very dark. I mean, the Grimm brothers are very dark. I don't think that there's an issue with that. What are you looking at? What?
I'm not at all. I'm just wondering, should I turn left on this yellow light right now? You know what I mean? Oncoming traffic.
You
it's
like
ridiculous.
This?
No, I don't like this.
Oh.
I hate all of it. Any story we do like this, I hate it. It's either I hate it, and then people are gonna be like, why? That's not, you're sending the wrong message. That's not what I'm sending either. Take the ride down. I'm like so over like things like this. Like, take it down. I'm fine with taking the ride down because it has no impact on my life. So take it down.
Well, how are you just throwing in the towel? You're over that much.
I'm throwing in the towel. Let's all start, giving in to cancel culture. Nobody push back, and let's take the ride down.
Are you just being facetious? Because it smells facetious of what you're saying.
No, I'm saying I give up fighting for other things like this, that the message might be from the apple or that she would have died, and trying to start thinking logically. Take it down. Let's take that. Let's start. Let's.
So you're giving
But I think there's a bigger problem in general with fairy tales. Like, it's not about the apple or the kissing. It's like this unrealistic love story that's like not possible for human beings to accomplish. And so that's something that's constantly perpetuated for little girls.
The words fairy tale.
Right, but we watch that and you're like, oh my God, I want to be saved by a prince, teaching young girls that you should be saved by some man down the line. And so, like, if we want to really dig into fairy tales, yeah, let's get rid of it all.
Let's go.
That's like.
See, now I can tell you're just going to be canceling everything.
Get it out.
You're tired of fighting. Let me just ask you one thing, though. I feel like the new Disney, the Tangled, the Frozens, their princesses don't need a prince. Is that right? That they're sort of gone in a different direction. I don't have children, but is that what you see?
Well, yeah, like Frozen.
Right?
She's
Am
like
I right?
the power one.
She doesn't
Tangled,
need.
the power. Yes,
there you go.
Absolutely. They're their own.
Nice. Nicely said. Nicely said. All right, Billie Eilish is showing off a whole new side of herself. The singer is featured on the cover of British Vogue with her new platinum blonde hair, wearing some sexy lingerie. Billie said she wanted to look like a 1940s and 50s pinup star for the shoot. She also addressed any potential backlash by saying body positivity is about doing whatever you want. She added, quote, showing your body and showing your skin or not should not take any respect from you. Now, it's a dramatic departure for Billie, who we are all used to seeing a little bit more covered up in baggy clothing. I thought she looked like an 11 out of a 10.
But you talked about her issues that she had with body positivity and all this stuff. So I was just wondering, also for her fans that are still struggling with that, she might literally alienate people because they're still going through that. So I'm just wondering, for the person that wants to be the spokesperson for that and wear all these baggy clothes for years to now be wearing lingerie, and I learned that from you, like, how does that make sense?
What if she grew? Can she not grow?
I mean, I guess I understand that she can grow, but it's like you also don't have to take on the roles like the I mean, she's done articles about it, exposés. She's done cover stories about it.
She was that baggy.
Right, she
I
was
have a
like
body
this person.
dysmorphia.
It's like Sia just deciding to take off the wig. And I know it's not the same thing as like a body struggle, but like taking off the wig and just like not Sia anymore.
I see you. I see it as we're watching someone grow up, sort of being more comfortable with herself in front of us. And I think that's lovely to see, but I do see what you're saying about alienating a certain group of people. What do you think, Jeff?
I think as a male, I should not comment on other females' body parts.
Jeff, you're being so
you're
PG.
being like
Not even 13, just straight up PG today. I can't believe
Monday,
this.
and I looked at my family before I left. I'm like, you know what? I love my family and my house. I'm going to keep it PG today.
Wow. Okay.
I don't want to get fired.
Wow.
I think she looks great. I think you should do whatever you want to do. That's what I think. I think if you want to take pictures of baggy clothes, good for you. If you want to show off your body a little bit, good for you.
Let us know what you
Lindsay, you don't like that answer?
I appreciate it, Jeff. You're neutral Nancy today. I get it.
Someone...
Listen, I'm with two women judging a woman's story. No, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Switzerland coming up on DBL. You've heard of couple goals, but is this modern family throuple goals? We'll introduce you to three guys who are in love with each other and raising two infants. Stay tuned.
Billions of cicadas are on their way. Some could start emerging by next week. And as they pop up out of the ground, an old urban legend is also popping up, claiming that you can make some serious cash if you find a cicada with a rare eye color. So let's verify. Can you actually get paid up to $1,000 for finding a cicada with blue eyes? Our sources are two entomologists, Dr. Paula Shrewsbury of the University of Maryland and Dr. Zoe Getman-Pickering with the George Washington University. They both told us pretty quickly that this one is false. It's a rumor that's been around for years.
There's a urban myth or urban legend that if you find a cicada with blue eyes, that you can get $1,000 for that, but that's not true.
That's not true.
Nobody giving $1,000
Okay.
if you find a blue-eyed cicada.
Dr. Getman-Pickering says that she believes blue-eyed cicadas are more rare than blue-eyed humans, so if you do find one of these cicadas with blue eyes, it's a cool find, you're just not going to get paid for it. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. Some say three's a crowd, but not for three men in San Diego who are all in a relationship and raising babies together. Earlier, I spoke to them about their life as a throuple in today's DBL Spotlight.
Remember the movie 3 Men and a Baby? About 3 men who band together to raise an infant? Well, Ian Jenkins, Alan Mayfield, and Jeremy Allen Hodges are just that. 3 men raising babies together. The difference? They're all in a relationship with each other.
I just don't think humans are actually built to be monogamous animals. So having an open relationship allows you to learn more, grow more with an additional person.
Ian and Alan have been a couple for years, but they wanted to bring in another person to complement their relationship. So when they met Jeremy 9 years ago, they just felt he was the perfect fit.
We just had amazing chemistry with Jeremy.
Having a baby is not an easy task for many same-sex couples, never mind a throuple. But in 2017, in a landmark case, they fought to have all 3 of their names listed on their daughter's birth certificate and won.
Piper goes to preschool, and then we play with Parker, and we're teaching him to speak and play and have fun with him. It's really pretty ordinary.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, welcome to Daily Blast Live. When people hear the word throuple, they might not even know what to make of it or what that means. So, Ian, would you best describe your relationship in your words? Go ahead, you have the floor.
Sure. It's really not any more complicated than we're just an ordinary family, but instead of 2 parents or 1 parent, there's 3. Really not any more complicated than that. And when people come over, it takes them about 10 seconds to adjust, and then they realize, hey, we're just regular people.
Jeremy, how did you feel about entering into a polyamorous relationship with Ian and Alan? Because I'm always questioning the jealousy aspect. Does that ever come into play, or is that something we stereotype from the outside?
I was never planning on being in a relationship like this. I had met a throuple before I met Alan and Ian, and that kind of opened my eyes to the possibility and what that entailed. But
It's not for everyone. You have to have a certain personality, I think. But for us, it works really great. And I would say that there's not a lot of jealousy. That's not something that really plays a factor.
That's good to hear. Now, Alan, all three of you are legal parents to your 3-year-old daughter, Piper, and your 16-month-old son, Parker. Hello, boo-boos. Now, the road to get here was not easy. And I wanted to know what was the most surprising thing for you about that process.
You know, we don't have a uterus, so we can't just easily make a baby. And so it takes a lot of planning and foresight. And so, you know, being in a throuple, I definitely had reservations about what would this mean, what would the impact be for the children? Is this something that, even if we want to have children, is this something that would be a good idea for them, a good environment to raise them? And all I can say is it took years of us thinking about it and planning and trying to make steps to prepare for it. We didn't plan on necessarily being able to all be 3 legal parents. So we had a lot of legal preparation and contracts and trusts drawn up, and being able to be all legal was just icing on the cake. But it did feel important for us. Our mindset wasn't to be a trailblazer or to be pushing boundaries. It was really, how can I best protect my children?
Do you have any concerns about bringing your kids up into this world as a throuple, whether what the world may say about them, what your kids might think about themselves? Talk to me a little bit about that.
We're not naive, and obviously at some point this will affect our kids, but every kid is affected by something. Every kid has something that makes them different or stand out. A kid with 2 gay dads, you know, at some point might get made fun of. And so the fact that the thing that makes our kids different is that they have an extra parent to love them, I think is pretty mild when it comes to something that sets you apart and makes you different. You know, we've been very fortunate in our life. All of our friends, all of our families are incredibly supportive.
That's
so,
good.
you know, actually we haven't had any parent shaming. You know, now that Ian has his book out and there's lots of PR, I'm sure if we went to comment sections, we'd get parent shamed, but we just didn't do that. And most people, once they meet us, they just really don't bat an eye because they see that we're all normal professionals that are just, you know, raising their kids like everyone else.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to plug that book. Ian's book, of course, 3 Dads and a Baby, Adventures in Modern Parenting. It's out now. It's available on Amazon and at all major booksellers. Thanks again, you guys. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
If you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, basically it's an online currency that has no government backing and at this point is mostly seen as an investment.
They're trading their dollars for Bitcoin, they're trading their dollars for Ethereum, and they're making that trade in the hope that it will be more valuable in the future.
So why are people investing in a currency with a dog mascot called Dogecoin? Our sources are Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange company, and Matt Hogan, a cryptocurrency expert from Bitwise Asset Management. So Dogecoin?
It's ridiculous. Let's start with that point.
According to Matt Hogan, 2 software engineers saw people investing in cryptocurrency in 2013
and found it sort of humorous to create their own coin, but to model it after an internet dog.
Yeah, that Shiba Inu you've seen floating around as a meme forever. The whole thing was meant to be a joke, with cryptocurrency as the punchline. But last year, Bitcoin really started to take off. Then, after billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban started tweeting their support, Dogecoin followed.
It's one of those sort of speculative excesses that ride shotgun with disruptive innovation, and Bitcoin and crypto is a disruptive innovation with spectacular returns.
Now this one-time joke that was worth less than a penny is skyrocketing to the moon, as they say. It's worth more than 30 cents, which is a 7,400% growth, all based on what Matt says is speculation.
So maybe not surprising that you have an internet meme dog currency coming along for part of the ride.
With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
DBL is real.
When you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You cannot have it both ways.
Then you're a fool, and you deserve to be fired.
Wow. DBL is off script. You can come at me, and I know you will.
And I need to put that on my license plate or something.
Time out. Like, I'm just gonna be honest.
DBL is unpredictable.
I'll try it today.
Well, now this is where I need to upgrade to. Is it cool? A little bit.
DBL is your daytime destination. We look so cute. I love us.
I looked great in those.
Yeah, I felt good about myself too. Lindsay, everybody looked good.
I wasn't in there at all. Good notice.
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice at all. Judy wrote us in, Judy Hughes. I wanted to just say this. She wrote, I'm so sick of everything being offensive to everyone. This is about the Snow White. Yes, Prince kissed princesses to be. Yes, they swooped in on the white stallions for their rescue. I grew up with all of it, but I never sat there lying around waiting to be rescued. We were taught reality and common sense. When is that coming back?
For sure, I don't think that fairy tale should be your #1 teacher. I'm just saying, if we talk about the problems, we can nitpick, just like we can go through everything that happened, every single cartoon that aired, and find something that might have been unsavory or just not okay to have in the cartoon. And hopefully with stuff that I'm learning, like Frozen and Coco and the new ones,
Tangled,
they're developing and making better plot lines that are not only one angle and one thing, like a woman getting rescued by a young man.
There you go.
I hope our viewers are offended as I am that I wasn't in that promo.
They aren't. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys. Blast Live. COVID vaccination card fraud. The crazy amount of fakes being sold on the internet. 3 men in a polyamorous relationship raising kids together share their story.
Instead of 2 parents or 1 parent, there's 3.
Billie Eilish like you've never seen her before. The bold magazine cover that's sparking a conversation about body positivity. And Kelly Osbourne and Patton Oswalt are on DBL Live today. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, May 3rd. I'm Sam here with Tori and Lindsay. Erica joins us from home. It is a Ladies' Day.
I can't believe it. All 4 of us.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day. I can feel it. No men to deal with today. All right, let's get right to it. We've got some good news on the pandemic here in America to start your Monday. So for the first time in more than 400 days, Los Angeles reported 0 COVID deaths. Wow. 0. And last night there was a giant concert there called Vax Live, the concert to reunite the world. Prince Harry was there in his first appearance back in the States since his grandfather's funeral. He got a standing ovation and told the crowd why it is so important that the vaccines are distributed across the globe. Take a look.
Because this pandemic will not end unless we act collectively with an unprecedented commitment to our shared humanity. The vaccine must be distributed to everyone, everywhere. We cannot rest or truly recover until there is fair distribution to every corner of the world.
Amen. The crowd was full of vaccinated healthcare workers and first responders. Look at them, all heroes who were invited to attend to thank them for their work. J.Lo was one of the performers. She brought her mom on stage to sing with her. Check out their rendition of Sweet Caroline. Wow. So Vax Live will air this Saturday on both CBS and ABC. Okay, so first and foremost, would you want to go to this concert? Would you
So I went to a wedding with 30 people. I would say 90% of them were vaccinated, and I still wanted everybody to get away from me. So I don't know. Maybe it's just
trust it.
No, I'm just not ready to be. Like, I'm thinking about New York subways when I used to live there. I'm just not ready to be that close to people.
Okay, so that was 30 people. This is 20,000.
So, yes, no.
I'm also having anxiety going to Target. I'm finding myself like really disliking people when they are on the same side of the street as me. So I'm having some anxiety, but I would have loved to go only because it's healthcare workers and I trust them.
You do,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And then Erica, here's the thing. Also, I mean, not only do we have 20,000 people there, but it is healthcare workers, and the goal is to have vaccines across the globe. I mean, you look at India, 400,000 cases just a couple of days ago in one day alone. So what would you do, Erica?
I mean, you know, it's a tricky thing because having gotten the vaccination just this weekend, you know, we were together with family, and unfortunately we're at a funeral, but like how we handled what happened on Saturday was very different from how we handled things back in January. There wasn't that nervous energy because so many of us have been vaccinated, but you're still incredibly cautious. So I think that people should just proceed with caution, but it's a very personal decision.
I would be cautious because of the fake vax cards, and we're going to get to that, so I don't want to jump the gun. Stay tuned. But there was something else that happened at the Vax Live concert that we have to discuss. Check out these paparazzi photos from over the weekend. You guys, that's J.Lo and Ben Affleck, not from way back when, from this weekend. They were riding together in the same SUV. They both appeared at the concert, but now, of course, there are all sorts of rumors about the two possibly rekindling their romance. So, gotta know how you feel, DBL Nation. Gotta know how you all feel. How do you feel about J.Lo moving on by possibly getting back together with her ex? And would you ever get back together with that?
I don't like running things back. I think like when it's done, it's done. But I do love J.Lo in general. And I think that one thing she's always going to do is move on. And I appreciate that she's already moving on. Whether this is a friendship or whatever, I don't think people with their exes are friends. But that just might be me and what I can and can't do. But I think that she's dating him again or trying to rekindle the romance.
I do too. And I'm going to say bring Bennifer back, please. First off, he's been shown at her house in the same SUV that she allegedly owns, being taken to her mansion several times by the paparazzi. So now they're in each other's homes. That's something else. Second, Sweet Caroline is the Red Sox anthem. Guess who likes good old Boston Red Sox? That's Ben Affleck.
Whoa, you went deep.
I did.
Oh my God.
Erica's like, no.
Can't they just be friends? They were really close at one point, and they do speak very well of one another as far as friendship goes. So I'm going to take the other side here and just say that
that they're just offering support to one another. No sex.
People that are dating also speak well of each other.
Okay, no sex involved in my
right.
I don't know. I do think it's interesting, though, because there are ways to not be seen together. So the idea that they've been caught in any capacity together seems like it's a very orchestrated effort, maybe just a little nonchalant dig.
To A-Rod. Yeah, I think it's an A-Rod dig, too.
I do love me a good dig.
Yeah.
I do love, like, when people, like, break up with someone and then they come back with, like, the revenge bod. Or they come back and they're dating someone that the other person did not like.
Frenemy or something,
So perhaps A-Rod had a little with Ben Affleck, and this is her way of getting him back.
One day we're going to learn what means.
Lead up to your imagination.
I gotcha. I didn't get to talk to you guys about the vaccine card, but maybe we'll do it later in the show. If not, okay, we will. Then I'm not going to elaborate too much. Maybe, maybe not. But just know that there are some fake vaccine cards out there. So don't be fooled. We got to make sure that that those people, that the law comes down on them swiftly, because let me tell you, that is endangering so many people's lives. Okay, coming up on DBL, meet a modern family that is defying relationship and parenthood norms. They are 3 men loving and living together while raising 2 babies. Wow, okay. Plus, we're talking live with TV personality Kelly Osbourne. There she is.
Cutie.
Oh, there she is. So good to see you. She's keeping it 100 with DBL Nation coming up. And a Snow White attraction at Disneyland is getting a lot of politically correct pushback, why a portion of the ride is making some uncomfortable.
Closed captioning provided by
The chicken sandwich wars started back in 2019 when Popeyes released that new sandwich. People fell in love and posted about it on social media a lot. 2 weeks after it dropped, Popeyes announced they sold out. Let's just say its competitors noticed, and everyone from McDonald's to KFC launched their own chicken sandwich. Sales continue to soar despite McDonald's describing it as a tightening in the domestic chicken supply. But according to the Washington Post, we can't blame all this on the battle of the fast food big boys. Poultry companies say their biggest problem is finding labor. Some chicken processors were hit hard when coronavirus spread through their plants. And the pandemic has also increased the demand for fried chicken as people turn to comfort food that was easy to deliver. Then there was the winter storm in Texas back in February. It didn't just hit the Lone Star State. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Mississippi were all affected. Some big states for poultry farms. Those farmers dealt not only with extreme cold, but also power outages, resulting in some big losses. All of this adds up to a chicken shortage for all of us.
This May on DBL, we're talking to the stars live. Kelly Osbourne, Patton Oswalt, Mary Lou Henner, and Derek Huff. Plus, your favorite sitcom stars of the 80s and the 90s. Melissa Joan Hart, Jaleel White, Kim Fields, and Candace Cameron Bure. Don't miss a day this May of DBL.
Ooh, it's going to be a good month. Okay, so Disneyland is back open in California, and it turns out they recently revamped their classic Snow White ride. But not everyone is happy about it. Now the ride ends with the true loves kiss scene, which some argue is very troublesome, mainly because Snow White is unconscious and cannot give consent for the prince to kiss her. Of course, it is the prince's kiss which does indeed break the curse and save Snow White's life. But the two had not previously met. Have you guys ever really thought about that? So do you think this scene is troublesome now that you're thinking it through? And should it be included in this story, even if it gives kids mixed messages about consent? One other little caveat for you, Erica Cobb. Snow White is believed to be 14 and Prince Florian 27 to 31.
Weird. Yeah. So that's a lot of information that I never knew. Listen, I don't want to gloss over what an important element of this conversation is, and that's the idea that by actually making this a topic, we are having the conversation about consent. And that may not have been the objective, but we're here now, and I think that there's no time that's too young to really address the concerns of consent.
What do they want people to do, though? Like, the alternative is that she just dies from biting an apple, and you tell kids apples kill you. Like, I don't know what the alternative is. And I think there's a bigger issue with fairy tales that I think has gotten corrected with, like, Frozen and newer Coco, some other films, because we always had this man saving this damsel in distress young girl and telling young girls that you need to be saved by some random man. So I think there's a lot of issues, but, you know, they're cartoons. You got to take them with a grain of salt.
I agree, but I think, Tori, you know, as a mom, I've already had conversations with Sophie, who's 3.5, almost 4 years old, about consent, because certain relatives will run up and hug her and kiss her, and I can tell it makes her uncomfortable. So I pull her aside and I say it is A-okay for you to say, I don't want to hug right now. And I think that's okay. And I want her to not, because I grew up always wanting to please people. That means if somebody wanted to hug me, I would hug them, even if that made me cringe inside. And that can translate to certain young women who may be insecure or have that mentality that who knows what that will turn into later on when they become intimate. So I think it's an important conversation. I'm not saying that we have to rewrite everything, but I hope that parents have the conversation with their children.
Yeah, I think this is a little too woke if we go into changing the Disney ride, right? I think that's a little too PC. Great conversation to have, but just know that the Brothers Grimm, who created these way back in the day, the Ariels, the Lion Kings, all of these, they're dark. They're really dark. There's death, and that's somewhat important to kids to realize there's not all jolly good. So at some point, I like fairy tales for what they teach kids, but I like that Disney's moved it to like Tangled, where she saves herself and stuff like that.
Yeah, they have progressed, and I'm here for that. Coming up on DBL, Billie Eilish stuns with a new look in British Vogue, the empowering message she's promoting in the new photo shoot. And there she is, Kelly Osbourne, live. We're chatting with her right after the break. I do not see her, but she is there, and she's coming up. Do not go away.
Billions of cicadas are on their way. Some could start emerging by next week. And as they pop up out of the ground, an old urban legend is also popping up, claiming that you can make some serious cash if you find a cicada with a rare eye color. So let's verify. Can you actually get paid up to $1,000 for finding a cicada with blue eyes? Our sources are two entomologists, Dr. Paula Shrewsbury of the University of Maryland and Dr. Zoe Getman-Pickering with the George Washington University. They both told us pretty quickly that this one is false. It's a rumor that's been around for years.
There's a urban myth or urban legend that if you find a cicada with blue eyes, that you can get $1,000 for that, but that's not true.
That's not true.
Nobody giving $1,000
okay.
if you find a blue-eyed cicada.
Dr. Getman-Pickering says that she believes blue-eyed cicadas are more rare than blue-eyed humans, so if you do find one of these cicadas with blue eyes, it's a cool find, you're just not going to get paid for it. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. Okay, we are waiting on Kelly Osbourne. So she has some technical difficulties. We're going to give her a moment. You had a correction?
Yes, I want to make sure the Lion King is not Brothers Grimm, and Ariel, the Little Mermaid, is actually Hans Christian Andersen. I wanted to get that right. But you got Little Red Riding Hood with Brothers Grimm. You got Cinderella. You got Rapunzel. All those really grim storylines.
Little Red Riding Hood terrified me as a kid.
It's, you know, what is it? Hansel and Gretel, they eat the kids.
Oh, yeah.
The witch eats them.
Right. She
in
fattens
the
them
oven.
up, puts them in a cage like birds, and then is about to boil them.
How do you feel about reading this to your new child?
I don't know. I might pick different books. There's a lot of good books that I saw at Sam's baby shower last year that I might pick up instead.
That's a really fun thing to do at a baby shower. Now, Lindsay obviously is expecting. We're so happy for her. And what you can do is you can ask people in lieu of gifts, bring a book that you feel strongly attached to and then write a message in it. And that's my favorite thing. Every time I read certain books to Miles or Sophie, I will see your message. I'll see your message.
That's so cute.
Yeah, and it's really, it's just a little bit more connected. And as they get older, they'll say, oh my gosh, Auntie Tori wrote that to me. You know what I mean?
And then you can have like a little start a library for them. And I'm sure when you get older, most people have like an area they keep their books. So it can just always be like part of the growing process.
And you guys just interrupt me when Kelly's available. Okay, good. So she's still working on getting her phone rebooted. So we'll be soon joined by Kelly Osbourne. How are you feeling, by the way? Because a lot of our viewers are just wondering, how is Lindsay doing?
I'm doing well. I actually just am starting to feel pregnant. I mean, I guess I should have, I've been feeling nauseous in the beginning of the first trimester, but that's over now. But I actually just feel like getting out of the car is like really grandma. You know, it's just like a whole issue. Like, and standing up just takes me, and Colin jokes on me like, okay, drama, get the violins out. But I'm like,
no.
I seriously.
Colin needs to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. He's walking on thin ice. But I seriously like take a long time to get up and like just take my time walking around because I'm clumsy in general. So this could go bad if I don't watch my steps.
And it's just as you get closer and closer to the due date, you're going to get bigger and bigger, and then your whole like equilibrium is completely off. It's bizarre.
And don't they say like I guess at a certain time you start gaining like a pound a week, which I can't fathom because I feel like, okay, this is as big as I should get and that's the bottom line. And my doctor's like, no, you'll be gaining a pound a week in about a couple more weeks.
Are you guys, at this point, are you guys starving hungry all the time? Like, are you just like constantly wanting to eat?
I was always hungry.
You were always hungry.
Yes.
You?
Yeah, I think Colin and I eat about the same portions at this point, which is embarrassing.
I love that.
Like he has a plate and I have the same exact plate, so I need to chill out.
And I'm being told we are going to move our live interview with Kelly Osbourne later in the show. We're going to give her some time to fix those technical difficulties. We don't want to eat up time in her interview, so stay tuned for that. Here's something that a lot of you have been talking about.
Oh boy.
Will Smith is also sporting a new look. The actor posted this shirtless pic on Instagram with the caption, I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm in the worst shape of my life, but many people in the comment section praised Will for his dad bod. Just for reference, here's a look at Will from his Bad Boys days to now.
I gotta be honest, I like seeing a man deal with bodies. I don't think we talk a lot about men and bodies. I don't think we do that. So I'm really glad to see this. But I love that Will was like, I make this look good in Men in Black, and he's just like, I straight up look bad. Like, I think that's good to hear, especially from a person of color who's a man. We don't necessarily hear that much from it. So I thought it was a really honest statement.
I feel like nobody wants to see Will Smith like that. I'm sorry. And I know that's not right to say. He's like, you know, he's been in great shape in all these movies. It's like, come on now. And when you see something like that, you're like, man, I'm getting old. Man, like a lot of things go through your head, and I'm just like, not Will Smith.
I think the pandemic hit him like it hit us.
Erica, how did you feel about this, seeing this photo?
Y'all need to stop. Will looks good. He always looks good. Will can do no wrong. I don't see what the big deal is. In fact, in my mind, most people that we see with like amazing bodies because they're getting ready for roles look like this in their off time. So I think it's a healthy balance. Like nobody stands shredded all the time.
You know what I found odd about it? Because first of all, when I scrolled and saw the photo, I loved it. I found it relatable. I loved the expression on his face. It seemed like your uncle in the backyard. It was just perfect. But what I thought was interesting is when I scrolled down the comments, everybody was either cheering him on, rooting him on, as opposed to if we saw any female actress dressed, you know, with her stomach out, the comment section would have been.
That's a fair point.
Very.
Like if Amy Schumer had posted that and been like, guys, I'm in the worst shape of my life, or Chelsea Handler, whatever.
Amy Schumer, I would look at somebody that we're used to seeing with a ripped bod.
Looks good, and then
you know, I think the
comments would have been very
different.
Wow.
But we love you, Will. We really do. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
If you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, basically it's an online currency that has no government backing and at this point is mostly seen as an investment.
They're trading their dollars for Bitcoin, they're trading their dollars for Ethereum, and they're making that trade in the hope that it will be more valuable in the future.
So why are people investing in a currency with a dog mascot called Dogecoin? Our sources are Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange company, and Matt Hogan, a cryptocurrency expert from Bitwise Asset Management. So Dogecoin?
It's ridiculous. Let's start with that point.
According to Matt Hogan, 2 software engineers saw people investing in cryptocurrency in 2013
and found it sort of humorous to create their own coin, but to model it after an internet dog.
Yeah, that Shiba Inu you've seen floating around as a meme forever. The whole thing was meant to be a joke, with cryptocurrency as the punchline. But last year, Bitcoin really started to take off. Then, after billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban started tweeting their support, Dogecoin followed.
It's one of those sort of speculative excesses that ride shotgun with disruptive innovation, and Bitcoin and crypto is a disruptive innovation with spectacular returns.
Now this one-time joke that was worth less than a penny is skyrocketing to the moon, as they say. It's worth more than 30 cents, which is a 7,400% growth, all based on what Matt says is speculation.
So maybe not surprising that you have an internet meme dog currency coming along for part of the ride.
With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. Billie Eilish is showing off a whole new side of herself. The singer is featured on the cover of British Vogue with her new platinum blonde hair, wearing sexy lingerie. Billie said she wanted to look like a 1940s, 1950s pinup star for the shoot. She also addressed any potential backlash by saying body positivity is about doing whatever you want. She added, quote, showing your body and showing your skin or not should not take any respect from you. So it's a dramatic departure for Billie, who we are used to seeing covered up in baggy clothing. So here's the thing. It's always so awkward talking, Erica, about other people's bodies and her making choices. But the reality of it, you go on her Instagram and she's alienated some of her fans, which is crazy to me. People saying you've gone Hollywood, you've sold out. Are we ever going to move past this, do you think?
Well, you know, first of all, Billie Eilish is 19 years old, and the idea that this was the way that she chose to present herself to the world previously, it makes sense to me that there would be an evolution. No one's going to know, especially at that age, how they're going to evolve and move in the world. So I think to say that, or to have the expectation that she could never show this side of herself is very limited in scope. But her fans, most of them are also very young and probably found a lot of solace and a lot of validation by her saying, I don't want to be known for what my body looks like. So I'm sure there's a lot of confusion for a lot of these very young fans.
And she's done a cover, or not a cover, but a story, a detailed story for Vogue about her body dysmorphia issues, and she's gone into detail and become a spokesperson for it. So at the same time that I do believe in growth, I think that she also may be alienating some people that are like, oh, you were wearing the baggy clothes, I related to you, and just kind of like leaving them hanging out there because it's like, oh, well, I grew past this a little bit. Unless I didn't read the whole article in Vogue, so maybe she is going into detail talking about it, but I think there are a lot of people, young people specifically, that were looking to her like, okay, you know, what should I do? I'm following your lead.
But it's also like really important to me that that message is also that you can grow, right? We tend to put child stars and we want to keep them at that Billie Eilish with the green hair and the baggy thing. And she's a human being and a woman, and as she grows, I think that maybe her fans can understand they can too. It doesn't have to be a pinup, but it could be something else. So I think it's a good message.
Interesting. All right, so if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around, here is what's coming up. You'll meet 3 guys who are in a relationship with each other and raising a growing family of their own. And we've got Kelly Osbourne live. Yes, we got the technical difficulties figured out. There she is. Do not miss Kelly. She's an open book, and we can't wait to hear what she has to say. And we have to give a big old thank you to our coworkers tuning in from home during the pandemic. There they are. Hey, 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 Megan. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Tori and Lindsay, and we have finally our special guest joining us now, Kelly Osbourne. She became a household name at just 17, thanks to the hit reality show that we all loved, The Osbournes. She has since dominated the TV airwaves as a host and our social feeds with her fashion. We're talking about her brand new podcast today. Please welcome the one and only Kelly Osbourne.
Yeah, yo!
Good girl. Kelly, we have so much to talk to you about, but I know that while you were figuring out the technical difficulties, you were overhearing our conversation.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it. We're glad that you figured it out. But, you've always been very transparent, an open book, and you've spoke, and a lot of young women have related to you about body positivity. And we wanted to know your thoughts. We were just speaking about Billie Eilish and her wearing something that her fans are not used to her seeing, right, in like that 1940s pinup. And some of her fans have voiced that they feel abandoned. What do you make of that? How does somebody somehow please their fans when they're just trying to stay true to themselves?
I have to be honest with you. I think it's really selfish of her fans, because I was in that position when I was 18. I had an album and I was touring, and they were very cognizant of like never showing cleavage, always had to keep covering up, and because I had really big boobs when I was really young. And so I think that Billie Eilish, not to speak on behalf of her because I don't even know her, had a similar thing. But the truth is, like, we're human beings. We evolve. What I liked when I was 17, I hated when I was 18. And I was completely different when I was 19. You're evolving as a human. You're figuring out what works for you, what doesn't. I think this is actually a very brave move for her, because she's coming out and saying, I'm owning my body. This is me, and this is who I want to be. I want to try something new. So instead of saying you've abandoned us, it might not be something that they like because they prefer the other way of dressing, but at the same time, she's just expressing herself. Nobody should ever, ever, ever be told how to express themselves.
Well said.
How to portray themselves to the world. And that's the way she wants to do it. And I think she looks beautiful.
Yeah, she looks stunning. She looks absolutely stunning. Thank you for that. So we also want to check in with you. 2 weeks ago, you announced your relapse. Now, addiction hits very close to home for me, and I really appreciate your transparency. It breaks down that stigma. You're helping people by speaking out. How are you doing right now?
Really good. I am very open about what it is that happened and what I'm doing to get myself back on track, because it's all part of this journey, and I need to be honest because it's the only way I know how to hold myself accountable. I am doing an outpatient program again, just like a little therapy pick-me-up, for lack of a better term, and it's great. Like I want to get to the root of what it is that made me believe that I could drink like a normal person, because I can't, and just focus on staying happy and healthy, because I really was before I started drinking again. Like, I don't understand what happened, and that's the nature of addiction and how everything can just be fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what happened? I didn't expect this. So it was difficult, a bump in the road, but we all have it. So I just wanted to be open and to the point about it, and kind of tackle it head on rather than lying about it, because I believe you're only as sick as your secrets. And if I could have gone on and nobody would have known.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would have made me any better.
I think you're saving so many lives right now by saying this and just being open and honest, and I just appreciate that. Also, such a fan from the Osbournes. Okay. Moving on. I was like, oh my God, I have to freak out. I did want to ask you about getting sober, and is it harder being an Osbourne and having to get sober? I also kind of wanted to go off script here and just ask you, what are your thoughts on being California sober? I know we heard from Demi Lovato that she sometimes drinks, sometimes smokes weed, and you're saying I can't. Wanted to know your take on what that means to you.
Okay, so I can't sometimes drink. That doesn't happen for me. So I don't understand that. That doesn't fall into my brain at all. That's not an option for me. Look, for me, life is the pursuit of happiness, and it's about what makes you happy. If you know, everybody works differently. There's not one set of rules for everyone, because when it comes to happiness, because it doesn't work that way. People have asked me about this. the only thing I can say is when people are like that, it means that they need a little bit of love and support, and something's not really going right in their life. So instead of sitting here and criticizing and dissecting her like everyone else does, I'm just going to sit here and say, I think a little bit more love and support and kindness, and I don't agree with it. That's all.
I appreciate that honesty. Thank you.
Well, before we go, your podcast comes out tomorrow, May 4th. I'm so excited.
It does. I'm so excited.
Is it true that you picked that date because it's a Star Wars day?
Ooh. Tell us.
Yeah. Because I'm like, may the 4th be with you. We're going to be with you on May the 4th, you know? And yeah, I'm a Star Wars nerd. You can thank my brother for that. But yeah, that's why I picked it. And, you know, our motto is what you call freaks, we call family. Everyone's welcome.
Oh,
and
love that.
It's about, you know, everything. Nothing is off limits. We want this podcast to be that 45 minutes of just mental freedom where you can switch off and listen to something stupid or reverent or funny or health education or whatever it may be we're talking about that will make you forget about, you know, am I going to be able to pay my mortgage? Am I going to be able to feed my kids? Like whatever it is that's going on, just a mental reprieve for 45 minutes. And that was our mission in doing this.
And I got to tell you, your background's giving me joy. All those cause dolls.
I love
it's
that.
like goals. I love them. I'm obsessed.
We're all jealous over here for many reasons. Thank you so much, Kelly Osbourne, for stopping by DBL. Make sure to check out her podcasting
Thank you so much for
debut.
having me, ladies.
We absolutely adore you. The Kelly Osbourne and Jeff Beecher Show. You got to check it out on Podcast One. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
And coming up on DBL, you've heard of couple goals. But is this modern family throuple goals? We'll introduce you to 3 guys who are in love with each other and raising 2 infants. Plus, we're talking live. There he is with actor and comedian Patton Oswalt. He's got a new show on Hulu, and he's going to tell us all about it. Oh, yeah, he blew us a kiss.
Yeah, come on now.
Yes, I feel
Come on now. Come on.
You won right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Not everybody wants to sing.
guys, acid is expensive.
MODOK, can I talk to you for a minute? I was listening at the door, and just my 2 cents, but maybe it's time to let AIM go.
Never. MODOK doesn't give up. Flailerg isn't even in my vocabulary.
Were you trying to say failure?
Yes, I literally deleted it from my memory banks.
Welcome back to DBL. You just watched a clip from Marvel's MODOK, an upcoming animated comedy series on Hulu about a supervillain facing his biggest challenge yet, a midlife crisis. We love it. Patton Oswalt created the show and stars in it. He joins us live. Hey.
Guys.
How are you?
I am really, really good. How are you guys?
We're doing wonderful. We're so glad that you could join us. Now, before we get to MODOK, we want to get your take on vaccines. Why do you think more Americans aren't getting their shots?
Because of all of the insane misinformation out there and all of the, I don't know. There's just, I didn't realize there was this big of a population that doubted vaccines. I mean, when the polio vaccine came out in 1955, we were still 2 years away from satellites, and everyone just lined up to get it.
Yep.
Now we're like, we've got world brains in our pockets, and there's satellites all over the planet, and there's robots on Mars, and people are like, that vaccine's got wizard poison in it.
I was hoping
how we went backward that way.
Right. Yeah. I was hoping he'd do the rah, 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 rah. That voice is my favorite. Patton, I'm a huge fan. I also follow your Instagram, and I wanted to say hi to Alice, your daughter, who I think is just wonderful and marvelous, and she's growing up to be so lovely. I wanted to ask you, as a comic, has it been harder or easier to joke now that the world's sort of fallen apart?
It was way harder to joke when it was falling apart. There's a like, wow, when things were awful in the 80s, think of how good punk rock was. It's like, well, first off, I'll give back, never mind the Sex Pistols if, the air isn't on fire. Like,
Yeah,
it's
right.
not worth that trade-off to have the world burned down to get a couple of good albums out of that. And also, the really good punk rock came out during Carter, and then the grunge movement started right when we got rid of, or really flourished right when we got rid of Bush. So I just think that's a myth of like bad times creates great art. It's like, how about we can have both. You can have good times and great art at the same time. I don't know why we fetishize that.
Now, it's been 5 years since your late wife, Michelle McNamara, passed away. So we're looking at your Instagram tribute right now. What advice do you think that she would give you to deal with this crazy year 2020?
She would, I think she'd be laughing at a lot of the craziness that's going on the way that I am trying to, but she would also go check in on your family, check in on your friends.
Yeah.
The more, if your impulse is to check on other people, that spreads and we all kind of get lifted up. I think that would have been her impulse during all this. It's not, don't hunker down, check in on everybody.
It's beautifully said. Let's jump into your new project. Tell us everything about Marvel's MODOK. If you can use some more punk rock analogies.
She's a punk rocker.
From a previous punk rock girl.
Well, if I could cite the band Wire and their album Pink Flags. Now, that came, basically, MODOK is a villain who is just as jealous and angry at the other villains in the Marvel Universe as he is the heroes, because he is this 8th dimensional brain, superior intellect, somehow on the D level, bottom tier of the villain. So he's struggling with a midlife crisis in terms of being a villain, and then also because of his hubris and his ego, he's like, not only can I rule the world as Emperor MODOK, I can also have a loving family in the suburbs who supports and worships me, both of which are completely falling apart because he is such a damaged ego and so crippled emotionally. And it's now all the birds are coming home to roost. So he's having to deal with both of these collapses at the same time. And it's really, really fun to write and really fun to perform.
So now I need to know what drew you to the role of a self-absorbed supervillain. I mean, he's going through a midlife crisis. Have you ever experienced anything like this? What is the connection?
I mean, look, I'm in show business. I've experienced pettiness and competition on my part. I've experienced envy and why is that person there and I'm here? Like, I think everyone not just in entertainment, but in all walks of life have experienced that. And I'm like, what if we crank this up to Marvel Jack Kirby levels and really make it cosmic? So that's what I think made it really fun. At least that's how I related to it.
Any real life people that you based your supervillain on?
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna say.
Come on,
yeah, there were a couple of people that we maybe used as signposts, maybe
motivation,
inspiration.
That's good. Tori, I just wanted to say, is Alice going to be watching it? What is the audience? Is it for adults as well? Because it sounds like something I'm kind of struggling through a quarter midlife somewhat crisis. I would enjoy it. Would young kids too as well? I just want to know the audience.
Oh yeah, no, I think young kids, and especially this will be like when you watch like a Pixar movie, or even like our daughter loves Stranger Things and WandaVision.
Oh yeah,
that
so good.
That she loves, and there's stuff as us adults going, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. So it works on both levels.
I love it. You are a true gem. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Patton. And don't forget to stream Patton's latest series, Marvel's MODOK, on Hulu, May 21st. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Am I good businessman?
Billions of cicadas are on their way. Some could start emerging by next week. And as they pop up out of the ground, an old urban legend is also popping up, claiming that you can make some serious cash if you find a cicada with a rare eye color. So let's verify. Can you actually get paid up to $1,000 for finding a cicada with blue eyes? Our sources are two entomologists, Dr. Paula Shrewsbury of the University of Maryland and Dr. Zoe Getman-Pickering with the George Washington University. They both told us pretty quickly that this one is false. It's a rumor that's been around for years.
There's a urban myth or urban legend that if you find a cicada with blue eyes, that you can get $1,000 for that, but that's not true.
That's not true.
Nobody giving $1,000
Okay.
if you find a blue-eyed cicada.
Dr. Getman-Pickering says that she believes blue-eyed cicadas are more rare than blue-eyed humans, so if you do find one of these cicadas with blue eyes, it's a cool find, you're just not going to get paid for it. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. Some say three's a crowd, but not for three men in San Diego who are all in a relationship and raising babies together. Earlier, I spoke to them about their life as a throuple in today's DBL Spotlight.
Remember the movie 3 Men and a Baby? About 3 men who band together to raise an infant? Well, Ian Jenkins, Alan Mayfield, and Jeremy Allen Hodges are just that. 3 men raising babies together. The difference? They're all in a relationship with each other.
I just don't think humans are actually built to be monogamous animals. So having an open relationship allows you to learn more, grow more with an additional person.
Ian and Alan have been a couple for years, but they wanted to bring in another person to complement their relationship. So when they met Jeremy 9 years ago, they just felt he was the perfect fit.
We just had amazing chemistry with Jeremy.
Having a baby is not an easy task for many same-sex couples, never mind a throuple. But in 2017, in a landmark case, they fought to have all 3 of their names listed on their daughter's birth certificate and won.
Piper goes to preschool, and then we play with Parker, and we're teaching him to speak and play and have fun with him. It's really pretty ordinary.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, welcome to Daily Blast Live. When people hear the word throuple, they might not even know what to make of it or what that means. So, Ian, would you best describe your relationship in your words? Go ahead, you have the floor.
Sure. It's really not any more complicated than we're just an ordinary family, but instead of two parents or one parent, there's three. Really not any more complicated than that. And when people come over, it takes them about 10 seconds to adjust, and then they realize, hey, we're just regular people.
Jeremy, how did you feel about entering into a polyamorous relationship with Ian and Alan? Because I'm always questioning the jealousy aspect. Does that ever come into play, or is that something we stereotype from the outside?
I was never planning on being in a relationship like this. I had met a throuple before I met Alan and Ian, and that kind of opened my eyes to the possibility and what that entailed. But it's not for everyone. You have to have a certain personality, I think. But for us, it works really great. And I would say that there's not a lot of jealousy. That's not something that really plays a factor.
That's good to hear. Now, Alan, all three of you are legal parents to your 3-year-old daughter, Piper, and your 16-month-old son, Parker. Hello, Boo-Boos. Now, the road to get here was not easy. And I wanted to know what was the most surprising thing for you about that process.
We don't have a uterus, so we can't just easily make a baby. And so it takes a lot of planning and foresight. And so, being in a throuple, I definitely had reservations about what would this mean, what would the impact be for the children? Is this something that, even if we want to have children, is this something that would be a good idea for them, a good environment to raise them? And all I can say is it took years of us thinking about it and planning and trying to make steps to prepare for it. We didn't plan on necessarily being able to all be 3 legal parents. So we had a lot of legal preparation and contracts and trusts drawn up, and being able to be all legal was just icing on it. But it did feel important for us. Our mindset wasn't to be a trailblazer or to be pushing boundaries. It was really, how can I best protect my children?
Do you have any concerns about bringing your kids up into this world as a throuple, whether what the world may say about them, what your kids might think about themselves? Talk to me a little bit about that.
We're not naive, and obviously at some point this will affect our kids, but every kid is affected by something. Every kid has something that makes them different or stand out. A kid with 2 gay dads, at some point might get made fun of. And so the fact that the thing that makes our kids different is that they have an extra parent to love them, I think is pretty mild when it comes to something that sets you apart and makes you different. We've been very fortunate in our life. All of our friends, all of our families are incredibly supportive.
That's
so,
good.
Actually we haven't had any parent shaming. Now that Ian has his book out and there's lots of PR, I'm sure if we went to comment sections, we'd get parent shamed, but we shouldn't do that. And most people, once they meet us, they just really don't bat an eye because they see that we're all normal professionals that are just, raising their kids like everyone else.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to plug that book. Ian's book, of course, 3 Dads and a Baby, Adventures in Modern Parenting. It's out now. It's available on Amazon and at all major booksellers. Thanks again, you guys. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
This May on DBL. Chilling first-hand accounts from women who escaped history's most notorious cults. From the sex trafficking ring that was NXIVM to Jonestown, a name synonymous with mass murder. Survivors are speaking out.
It wasn't until the wee hours of the morning that we were told that 500 had ran into the jungle and 500 were dead.
Don't miss our special series, Free from the Following, Cult Survivor Stories, this May, only on DBL.
I had chills that entire interview. I know. So you cannot miss a single moment of May, because let me tell you, those interviews are absolutely mind-boggling.
It's unbelievable. She's one of 11 that escaped Jonestown.
Wow.
One of 11.
Right.
Unbelievable. Can't wait for May.
Yep. All right, DBL's new every day. We will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a fantastic Monday, everybody. Take care.
What we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
COVID vaccination card fraud. The crazy amount of fakes being sold on the internet. 3 men in a polyamorous relationship raising kids together share their story.
Instead of 2 parents or 1 parent, there's 3.
Billie Eilish like you've never seen her before. The bold magazine cover that's sparking a conversation about body positivity. And Kelly Osbourne and Patton Oswalt are on DBL Live today.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2,
Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, May 3rd. I'm Sam here with Tori and Lindsay. Erica joins us from home. It is a ladies' day.
I can't believe it. All four of us.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day. I can feel it. No men to deal with today. All right, let's get right to it. We've got some good news on the pandemic here in America to start your Monday. So for the first time in more than 400 days, Los Angeles reported 0 COVID deaths. Wow. 0. And last night there was a giant concert there called Vax Live, the concert to reunite the world. Prince Harry was there in his first appearance back in the States since his grandfather's funeral. He got a standing ovation and told the crowd why it is so important that the vaccines are distributed across the globe. Take a look.
Because this pandemic will not end unless we act collectively with an unprecedented commitment to our shared humanity. The vaccine must be distributed to everyone, everywhere. We cannot rest or truly recover until there is fair distribution to every corner of the world.
Amen. The crowd was full of vaccinated healthcare workers and first responders. Look at them, all heroes who were invited to attend to thank them for their work. J.Lo was one of the performers. She brought her mom on stage to sing with her. Check out their rendition of Sweet Caroline. Wow. So Vax Live will air this Saturday on both CBS and ABC. Okay, so first and foremost, would you want to go to this concert? Would you
So I went to a wedding with 30 people. I would say 90% of them were vaccinated, and I still wanted everybody to get away from me. So I don't know. Maybe it's just
trust it.
No, I'm just not ready to be. I'm thinking about New York subways when I used to live there. I'm just not ready to be that close to people.
Okay, so that was 30 people. This is 20,000.
So, yes, no.
I'm also having anxiety going to Target. I'm finding myself like really disliking people when they are on the same side of the street as me. So I'm having some anxiety, but I would have loved to go only because it's healthcare workers and I trust them.
You do,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And then Erica, here's the thing. Also, I mean, not only do we have 20,000 people there, but it is healthcare workers, and the goal is to have vaccines across the globe. I mean, you look at India, 400,000 cases just a couple of days ago in one day alone. So what would you do, Erica?
I mean, you know, it's a tricky thing because having gotten the vaccination just this weekend, you know, we were together with family, and unfortunately we're at a funeral, but like how we handled what happened on Saturday was very different from how we handled things back in January. There wasn't that nervous energy because so many of us have been vaccinated, but you're still incredibly cautious. So I think that people should just proceed with caution, but it's a very personal decision.
I would be cautious because of the fake vax cards, and we're going to get to that, so I don't want to jump the gun. Stay tuned. But there was something else that happened at the Vax Live concert that we have to discuss. Check out these paparazzi photos from over the weekend. You guys, that's J.Lo and Ben Affleck, not from way back when, from this weekend. They were riding together in the same SUV. They both appeared at the concert, but now, of course, there are all sorts of rumors about the two possibly rekindling their romance. So, gotta know how you feel, DBL Nation. Gotta know how you all feel. How do you feel about J.Lo moving on by possibly getting back together with her ex? And would you ever get back together with that?
I don't like running things back. I think like when it's done, it's done. But I do love J.Lo in general. And I think that one thing she's always going to do is move on. And I appreciate that she's already moving on. Whether this is a friendship or whatever, I don't think people with their exes are friends. But that just might be me and what I can and can't do. But I think that she's dating him again or trying to rekindle the romance.
I do too. And I'm going to say bring Bennifer back, please. First off, he's been shown at her house in the same same SUV that she allegedly owns being taken to her mansion several times by the paparazzi. So now they're in each other's homes. That's something else. Second, Sweet Caroline is the Red Sox anthem. Guess who likes good old Boston Red Sox? That's Ben Affleck.
Whoa, you went deep.
I did.
Oh my God.
Erica's like, no.
Can't they just be friends? They were really close at one point, and they do speak very well of one another as far as friendship goes. So I'm going to take the other side here and just say that they're just offering support to one another. No sex.
People that are dating also speak well of each other.
Okay, no sex involved in my.
Yeah,
Erica?
right.
I don't know. I do think it's interesting, though, because there are ways to not be seen together. So the idea that they've been caught in any capacity together seems like it's a very orchestrated effort, maybe just a little nonchalant dig.
To A-Rod. Yeah, I think it's an A-Rod dig, too.
I do love me a good dig.
Yeah.
I do love, like, when people, like, break up with someone and then they come back with, like, the revenge bod. Or they come back and they're dating someone that the other person did not like.
Frenemy or something,
So perhaps A-Rod had a little with Ben Affleck, and this is her way of getting him back.
One day we're going to learn what means.
Lead up to your imagination.
I gotcha. I didn't get to talk to you guys about the vaccine card, but maybe we'll do it later in the show. If not, okay, we will. Then I'm not going to elaborate too much. Maybe, maybe not. But just know that there are some fake vaccine cards out there. So don't be fooled. We got to make sure that that those people, that the law comes down on them swiftly, because let me tell you, that is endangering so many people's lives. Okay, coming up on DBL, meet a modern family that is defying relationship and parenthood norms. They are 3 men loving and living together while raising 2 babies. Wow, okay. Plus, we're talking live with TV personality Kelly Osbourne. There she is.
Cutie.
Oh, there she is. So good to see you. She's keeping it 100 with DBL Nation coming up. And a Snow White attraction at Disneyland is getting a lot of politically correct pushback, why a portion of the ride is making some uncomfortable.
Closed captioning provided by
The chicken sandwich wars started back in 2019 when Popeyes released that new sandwich. People fell in love and posted about it on social media a lot. 2 weeks after it dropped, Popeyes announced they sold out. Let's just say its competitors noticed, and everyone from McDonald's to KFC launched their own chicken sandwich. Sales continue to soar despite McDonald's describing it as a tightening in the domestic chicken supply. But according to the Washington Post, we can't blame all this on the battle of the fast food big boys. Poultry companies say their biggest problem is finding labor. Some chicken processors were hit hard when coronavirus spread through their plants. And the pandemic has also increased the demand for fried chicken as people turn to comfort food that was easy to deliver. Then there was the winter storm in Texas back in February. It didn't just hit the Lone Star State. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Mississippi were all affected. Some big states for poultry farms. Those farmers dealt not only with extreme cold, but also power outages, resulting in some big losses. All of this adds up to a chicken shortage for all of us.
On DBL, we're talking to the stars live. Kelly Osbourne, Patton Oswalt, Mary Lou Henner, and Derek Huff. Plus, your favorite sitcom stars of the 80s and the 90s. Melissa Joan Hart, Jaleel White, Kim Fields, and Candace Cameron Bure. Don't miss a day this May of DBL.
Ooh, it's going to be a good month. Okay, so Disneyland is back open in California, and it turns out they recently revamped their classic Snow White ride. But not everyone is happy about it. Now the ride ends with the True Love's kiss scene, which some argue is very troublesome, mainly because Snow White is unconscious and cannot give consent for the prince to kiss her. Of course, it is the prince's kiss which does indeed break the curse and save Snow White's life. But the two had not previously met. Have you guys ever really thought about that? So do you think this scene is troublesome now that you're thinking it through? And should it be included in this story, even if it gives kids mixed messages about consent? One other little caveat for you, Erica Cobb. Snow White is believed to be 14 and Prince Florian 27 to 31.
Weird. Yeah. So that's a lot of information that I never knew. Listen, I don't want to gloss over what an important element of this conversation is, and that's the idea that by actually making this a topic, we are having the conversation about consent. And that may not have been the objective, but we're here now, and I think that there's no time that's too young to really address the concerns of consent.
What do they want people to do, though? Like, the alternative is that she just dies from biting an apple, and you tell kids apples kill you. Like, I don't know what the alternative is. And I think there's a bigger issue with fairy tales that I think has gotten corrected with, like, Frozen and newer Coco, some other films, because we always had this man saving this damsel in distress young girl and telling young girls that you need to be saved by some random man. So I think there's a lot of issues, but, you know, they're cartoons. You got to take them with a grain of salt.
I agree, but I think, Tori, you know, as a mom, I've already had conversations with Sophie, who's 3.5, almost 4 years old, about consent, because certain relatives will run up and hug her and kiss her, and I can tell it makes her uncomfortable. So I pull her aside and I say it is A-okay for you to say, I don't want to hug right now. And I think that's okay. And I want her to not, because I grew up always wanting to please people. That means if somebody wanted to hug me, I would hug them, even if that made me cringe inside. And that can translate to certain young women who may be insecure or have that mentality that who knows what that will turn into later on when they become intimate. So I think it's an important conversation. I'm not saying that we have to rewrite everything, but I hope that parents have the conversation with their children.
Yeah, I think this is a little too woke if we go into changing the Disney ride, right? I think that's a little too PC. Great conversation to have, but just know that the Brothers Grimm, who created these way back in the day, the Ariels, the Lion Kings, all of these, they're dark. They're really dark. There's death, and that's somewhat important to kids to realize there's not all jolly good. So at some point, I like fairy tales for what they teach kids, but I like that Disney's moved it to like Tangled, where she saves herself and stuff like that.
Yeah, they have progressed, and I'm here for that. Coming up on DBL, Billie Eilish stuns with a new look in British Vogue, the empowering message she's promoting in the new photo shoot. And there she is, Kelly Osbourne, live. We're chatting with her right after the break. I do not see her, but she is there, and she's coming up. Do not go away.
Billions of cicadas are on their way. Some could start emerging by next week, and as they pop up out of the ground, an old urban legend is also popping up, claiming that you can make some serious cash if you find a cicada with a rare eye color. So let's verify. Can you actually get paid up to $1,000 for finding a cicada with blue eyes? Our sources are two entomologists, Dr. Paula Shrewsbury of the University of Maryland and Dr. Zoe Getman-Pickering with the George Washington University. They both told us pretty quickly that this one is false. It's a rumor that's been around for years.
There's a urban myth or urban legend that if you find a cicada with blue eyes, that you can get $1,000 for that, but that's not true.
That's not true.
Nobody giving $1,000
okay.
if you find a blue-eyed cicada.
Dr. Getman-Pickering says that she believes blue-eyed cicadas are more rare than blue-eyed humans, so if you do find one of these cicadas with blue eyes, it's a cool find, you're just not going to get paid for it. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. Okay, we are waiting on Kelly Osbourne. So she has some technical difficulties. We're going to give her a moment. You had a correction?
Yes, I want to make sure the Lion King is not Brothers Grimm, and Ariel, the Little Mermaid, is actually Hans Christian Andersen. I wanted to get that right. But you got Little Red Riding Hood with Brothers Grimm. You got Cinderella. You got Rapunzel. All those really grim storylines.
Little Red Riding Hood terrified me as a kid.
It's, you know, what is it, Hansel and Gretel? They eat the kids.
Oh, yeah.
The witch eats them.
Right. She
in
fattens
the
them
oven.
up, puts them in a cage like birds, and then is about to boil them.
How do you feel about reading this to your new child?
I don't know. I might pick different books. There's a lot of good books that I saw at Sam's baby shower last year that I might pick up instead.
That's a really fun thing to do at a baby shower. Now, Lindsay obviously is expecting. We're so happy for her. And what you can do is you can ask people in lieu of gifts, bring a book that you feel strongly attached to and then write a message in it. And that's my favorite thing. Every time I read certain books to Miles or Sophie, I will see your message. I'll see your message.
That's so cute.
Yeah, and it's really, it's just a little bit more connected. And as they get older, they'll say, oh my gosh, Auntie Tori wrote that to me. You know what I mean?
And then you can have like a little start a library for them. And I'm sure when you get older, most people have like an area they keep their books. So it can just always be like part of the growing process.
And you guys just interrupt me when Kelly's available. Okay, good. So she's still working on getting her phone rebooted. So we'll be soon joined by Kelly Osbourne. How are you feeling, by the way? Because a lot of our viewers are just wondering, how is Lindsay doing?
I'm doing well. I actually just am starting to feel pregnant. I mean, I guess I should have, I've been feeling nauseous in the beginning of the first trimester, but that's over now. But I actually just feel like getting out of the car is like really grandma. You know, it's just like a whole issue. Like, and standing up just takes me, and Colin jokes on me like, okay, drama, get the violins out. But I'm like,
no.
I seriously.
Colin needs to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. He's walking on thin ice. But I seriously like take a long time to get up and like just take my time walking around because I'm clumsy in general. So this could go bad if I don't watch my steps.
And it's just as you get closer and closer to the due date, you're going to get bigger and bigger, and then your whole like equilibrium is completely off. It's bizarre.
And don't they say like I guess at a certain time you start gaining like a pound a week, which I can't fathom because I feel like, okay, this is as big as I should get and that's the bottom line. And my doctor's like, no, you'll be gaining a pound a week in about a couple more weeks.
Are you guys, at this point, are you guys starving hungry all the time? Like, are you just like constantly wanting to eat?
I was always hungry.
You were always hungry.
Yes.
You?
Yeah, I think Colin and I eat about the same portions at this point, which is embarrassing.
I love that.
Like he has a plate and I have the same exact plate, so I need to chill out.
And I'm being told we are going to move our live interview with Kelly Osbourne later in the show. We're going to give her some time to fix those technical difficulties. We don't want to eat up time in her interview, so stay tuned for that. Here's something that a lot of you have been talking about.
Oh boy.
Will Smith is also sporting a new look. The actor posted this shirtless pic on Instagram with the caption, I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm in the worst shape of my life, but many people in the comment section praised Will for his dad bod. Just for reference, here's a look at Will from his Bad Boys days to now.
I gotta be honest, I like seeing a man deal with bodies. I don't think we talk a lot about men and bodies. I don't think we do that. So I'm really glad to see this. But I love that Will was like, I make this look good in Men in Black, and he's just like, I straight up look bad. Like, I think that's good to hear, especially from a person of color who's a man. We don't necessarily hear that much from it. So I thought it was a really honest statement.
I feel like nobody wants to see Will Smith like that. I'm sorry. And I know that's not right to say. He's like, you know, he's been in great shape in all these movies. It's like, come on now. And when you see something like that, you're like, man, I'm getting old. Man, like a lot of things go through your head, and I'm just like, not Will Smith.
I think the pandemic hit him like it hit us.
Erica, how did you feel about this, seeing this photo?
Y'all need to stop. Will looks good. He always looks good. Will can do no wrong. I don't see what the big deal is. In fact, in my mind, most people that we see with like amazing bodies because they're getting ready for roles look like this in their off time. So I think it's a healthy balance. Like nobody stands shredded all the time.
You know what I found odd about it? Because first of all, when I scrolled and saw the photo, I loved it. I found it relatable. I loved the expression on his face. It seemed like your uncle in the backyard. It was just perfect. But what I thought was interesting is when I scrolled down the comments, everybody was either cheering him on, rooting him on, as opposed to if we saw any female actress dressed, you know, with her stomach out, the comment section would have been...
That's a fair point.
Very
Like
nice.
if Amy Schumer had posted that and been like, guys, I'm in the worst shape of my life, or Chelsea Handler, whatever.
Amy Schumer, I would look at somebody that we're used to seeing with a ripped bod.
Looks good, and then,
you know, I think the
comments would have been very
different.
Wow.
But we love you, Will. We really do. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
If you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, basically it's an online currency that has no government backing and at this point is mostly seen as an investment.
They're trading their dollars for Bitcoin, they're trading their dollars for Ethereum, and they're making that trade in the hope that it will be more valuable in the future.
So why are people investing in a currency with a dog mascot called Dogecoin? Our sources are Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange company, and Matt Hogan, a cryptocurrency expert from Bitwise Asset Management. So Dogecoin?
It's ridiculous. Let's start with that point.
According to Matt Hogan, 2 software engineers saw people investing in cryptocurrency in 2013
and found it sort of humorous to create their own coin, but to model it after an internet dog.
Yeah, that Shiba Inu you've seen floating around as a meme forever. The whole thing was meant to be a joke, with cryptocurrency as the punchline. But last year, Bitcoin really started to take off. Then, after billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban started tweeting their support, Dogecoin followed.
It's one of those sort of speculative excesses that ride shotgun with disruptive innovation, and Bitcoin and crypto is a disruptive innovation with spectacular returns.
Now this one-time joke that was worth less than a penny is skyrocketing to the moon, as they say. It's worth more than 30 cents, which is a 7,400% growth, all based on what Matt says is speculation.
So maybe not surprising that you have an internet meme dog currency coming along for part of the ride.
With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. Billie Eilish is showing off a whole new side of herself. The singer is featured on the cover of British Vogue with her new platinum blonde hair, wearing sexy lingerie. Billie said she wanted to look like a 1940s, 1950s pinup star for the shoot. She also addressed any potential backlash by saying body positivity is about doing whatever you want. She added, quote, showing your body and showing your skin or not should not take any respect from you. So it's a dramatic departure for Billie, who we are used to seeing covered up in baggy clothing. So here's the thing. It's always so awkward talking, Erica, about other people's bodies and her making choices. But the reality of it, you go on her Instagram and she's alienated some of her fans, which is crazy to me. People saying you've gone Hollywood, you've sold out. Are we ever going to move past this, do you think?
Well, you know, first of all, Billie Eilish is 19 years old, and the idea that this was the way that she chose to present herself to the world previously, it makes sense to me that there would be an evolution. No one's going to know, especially at that age, how they're going to evolve and move in the world. So I think to say that, or to have the expectation that she could never show this side of herself is very limited in scope. But her fans, most of them, are also very young and probably found a lot of solace and a lot of validation by her saying, I don't want to be known for what my body looks like. So I'm sure there's a lot of confusion for a lot of these very young fans.
And she's done a cover, or not a cover, but a story, a detailed story for Vogue about her body dysmorphia issues, and she's gone into detail and become a spokesperson for it. So at the same time that I do believe in growth, I think that she also may be alienating some people that are like, oh, you were wearing the baggy clothes, I related to you, and just kind of like leaving them hanging out there because it's like, oh, well, I grew past this a little bit. Unless I didn't read the whole article in Vogue, so maybe she is going into detail talking about it, but I think there are a lot of people, young people specifically, that were looking to her like, okay, you know, what should I do? I'm following your lead.
But it's also like really important to me that that message is also that you can grow, right? We tend to put child stars and we want to keep them at that Billie Eilish with the green hair and the baggy thing. And she's a human being and a woman, and as she grows, I think that maybe her fans can understand they can too. It doesn't have to be a pinup, but it could be something else. So I think it's a good message.
Interesting. All right, so if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around, here is what's coming up. You'll meet 3 guys who are in a relationship with each other and raising a growing family of their own. And we've got Kelly Osbourne live. Yes, we got the technical difficulties figured out. There she is. Do not miss Kelly. She's an open book, and we can't wait to hear what she has to say. And we have to give a big old thank you to our coworkers tuning in from home during the pandemic. There they are. Hey, 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 Megan. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Tori and Lindsay, and we have finally our special guest joining us now, Kelly Osbourne. She became a household name at just 17 thanks to the hit reality show that we all loved, The Osbournes. She has since dominated the TV airwaves as a host and our social feeds with her fashion. We're talking about her brand new podcast today. Please welcome the one and only Kelly Osbourne.
Yeah, yo!
Good girl.
Hi.
Kelly, we have so much to talk to you about, but I know that while you were figuring out the technical difficulties, you were overhearing our conversation.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it. We're glad that you figured it out. But, you've always been very transparent, an open book, and you've spoken, a lot of young women have related to you about body positivity. And we wanted to know your thoughts. We were just speaking about Billie Eilish and her wearing something that her fans are not used to her seeing, right? In like that 1940s pinup. And some of her fans have voiced that they feel abandoned. What do you make of that? How does somebody somehow please their fans when they're just trying to stay true to themselves?
I have to be honest with you. I think it's really selfish of her fans because I was in that position when I was 18. I had an album and I was touring, and they were very cognizant of like never showing cleavage, always had to keep covering up, and because I had really big boobs when I was really young. And so I think that Billie Eilish, not to speak on behalf of her because I don't even know her, had a similar thing. But the truth is, like, we're human beings. We evolve. What I liked when I was 17, I hated when I was 18. And I was completely different when I was 19. You're evolving as a human. You're figuring out what works for you, what doesn't. I think this is actually a very brave move for her because she's coming out and saying, I'm owning my body. This is me, and this is who I want to be. I want to try something new. So instead of saying you've abandoned us, it might not be something that they like because they prefer the other way of dressing, but at the same time, she's just expressing herself. Nobody should ever, ever, ever be told how to express themselves,
well said.
How to portray themselves to the world. And that's the way she wants to do it. And I think she looks beautiful.
Yeah, she looks stunning. She looks absolutely stunning. Thank you for that. So we also want to check in with you. 2 weeks ago, you announced your relapse. Now, addiction hits very close to home for me. And I really appreciate your transparency. It breaks down that stigma. You're helping people by speaking out. How are you doing right now?
Really good. I am very open about what it is that happened and what I'm doing to get myself back on track because it's all part of this journey. And I need to be honest because it's the only way I know how to hold myself accountable. I am doing an outpatient program again, just like a little therapy pick-me-up, for lack of a better term. And it's great. Like I want to get to the root of what it is that made me believe that I could drink like a normal person because I can't, and just focus on staying happy and healthy because I really was before I started drinking again. Like I don't understand what happened, and that's the nature of addiction and how everything can just be fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what happened? I didn't expect this. So it was difficult, a bump in the road, but we all have it. So I just wanted to be open and to the point about it and kind of tackle it head on rather than lying about it because I believe you're only as sick as your secrets. And if I could have gone on and nobody would have known.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would have made me any better.
I think you're saving so many lives right now by saying this and just being open and honest, and I just appreciate that. Also, such a fan from the Osbournes. Okay. Moving on.
Thank you.
I was like, oh my God, I have to freak out. I did want to ask you about getting sober, and is it harder being an Osbourne and having to get sober? I also kind of wanted to go off script here and just ask you, what are your thoughts on being California sober? I know we heard from Demi Lovato that she sometimes drinks, sometimes smokes weed, and you're saying I can't. Wanted to know your take on what that means to you.
Okay, so I can't sometimes drink. That doesn't happen for me. So I don't understand that. That doesn't fall into my brain at all. That's not an option for me. Look, for me, life is the pursuit of happiness, and it's about what makes you happy. If everybody works differently. There's not one set of rules for everyone because when it comes to happiness, because it doesn't work that way. People have asked me about this. The only thing I can say is when people are like that, it means that they need a little bit of love and support, and something's not really going right in their life. So instead of sitting here and criticizing and dissecting her like everyone else does, I'm just going to sit here and say, I think a little bit more love and support and kindness, and I don't agree with it. That's all.
I appreciate that honesty. Thank you.
Well, before we go, your podcast comes out tomorrow, May 4th. I'm so excited.
It does. I'm so excited.
Is it true that you picked that date because it's a Star Wars day?
Ooh. Tell us.
Yeah. Because I'm like, may the 4th be with you. We're going to be with you on May the 4th, And yeah, I'm a Star Wars nerd. You can thank my brother for that. But yeah, that's why I picked it. And, our motto is what you call freaks, we call family. Everyone's welcome.
Oh,
and
love that.
It's about, everything. Nothing is off limits. We want this podcast to be that 45 minutes of just mental freedom where you can switch off and listen to something stupid or reverent or funny or health education or whatever it may be we're talking about that will make you forget about, am I going to be able to pay my mortgage? Am I going to be able to feed my kids? Like whatever it is that's going on, just a mental reprieve for 45 minutes. And that was our mission in doing this.
And I got to tell you, your background's giving me joy. All those cause dolls.
I love
it's like
that.
goals. I love them. I'm obsessed.
We're all jealous over here for many reasons. Thank you so much, Kelly Osbourne, for stopping by DBL. Make sure to check out her podcasting
Thank you so much for
debut.
having me, ladies.
We absolutely adore you. The Kelly Osbourne and Jeff Beecher Show. You got to check it out on Podcast One. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
And coming up on DBL, you've heard of couple goals. But is this Modern Family throuple goals? We'll introduce you to 3 guys who are in love with each other and raising 2 infants. Plus, we're talking live. There he is with actor and comedian Patton Oswalt. He's got a new show on Hulu, and he's going to tell us all about it. Oh, yeah, he blew us a kiss.
Yeah, come on now.
Yes, I feel
Come on now. Come on.
One right back.
Closed captioning provided by...
Not everybody wants it.
The chicken sandwich wars started back in 2019 when Popeyes released that new sandwich. People fell in love and posted about it on social media a lot. 2 weeks after it dropped, Popeyes announced they sold out. Let's just say its competitors noticed, and everyone from McDonald's to KFC launched their own chicken sandwich. Sales continue to soar despite McDonald's describing it as a tightening in the domestic chicken supply. But according to the Washington Post, we can't blame all this on the battle of the fast food big boys. Poultry companies say their biggest problem is finding labor. Some chicken processors were hit hard when coronavirus spread through their plants. And the pandemic has also increased the demand for fried chicken as people turn to comfort food that was easy to deliver. Then there was the winter storm in Texas back in February. It didn't just hit the Lone Star State. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Mississippi were all affected. Some big states for poultry farms. Those farmers dealt not only with extreme cold, but also power outages, resulting in some big losses. All of this adds up to a chicken shortage for all of us.
Dad, one of your dumb spilled acid all over my boyfriend.
Come on, guys, acid is expensive.
Modoc, can I talk to you for a minute? I was listening at the door, and just my 2 cents, but maybe it's time to let AIM go.
Never. Modoc doesn't give up. Flailerg isn't even in my vocabulary.
Were you trying to say failure?
Yes, I literally deleted it from my memory banks.
Welcome back to DBL. You just watched a clip from Marvel's MODOK, an upcoming animated comedy series on Hulu about a supervillain facing his biggest challenge yet, a midlife crisis. We love it. Patton Oswalt created the show and stars in it. He joins us live. Hey.
Guys.
How are you?
I am really, really good. How are you guys?
We're doing wonderful. We're so glad that you could join us. Now, before we get to MODOK, we want to get your take on vaccines. Why do you think more Americans aren't getting their shots?
Because of all of the insane misinformation out there and all of the, I don't know. There's just, I didn't realize there was this big of a population that doubted vaccines. I mean, when the polio vaccine came out in 1955, we were still 2 years away from satellites, and everyone just lined up to get it.
Yep.
Now we're like, we've got world brains in our pockets, and there's satellites all over the planet, and there's robots on Mars, and people are like, that vaccine's got wizard poison in it.
I was hoping
how we went backward that way.
Right. Yeah. I was hoping he'd do the rah, 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 rah. That voice is my favorite. Patton, I'm a huge fan. I also follow your Instagram, and I wanted to say hi to Alice, your daughter, who I think is just wonderful and marvelous, and she's growing up to be so lovely. I wanted to ask you, as a comic, has it been harder or easier to joke now that the world's sort of fallen apart?
It was way harder to joke when it was falling apart. There's a like, wow, when things were awful in the 80s, think of how good punk rock was. It's like, well, first off, I'll give back, never mind the Sex Pistols if, the air isn't on fire. Like,
Yeah,
it's
right.
not worth that trade-off to have the world burned down to get a couple of good albums out of that. And also, the really good punk rock came out during Carter, and then the grunge movement started right when we got rid of, or really flourished right when we got rid of Bush. So I just think that's a myth of like bad times creates great art. It's like, how about we can have both. You can have good times and great art at the same time. I don't know why we fetishize that.
Now, it's been 5 years since your late wife, Michelle McNamara, passed away. So we're looking at your Instagram tribute right now. What advice do you think that she would give you to deal with this crazy year 2020?
She would, I think she'd be laughing at a lot of the craziness that's going on the way that I am trying to, but she would also go check in on your family, check in on your friends.
Yeah.
The more, if your impulse is to check on other people, that spreads and we all kind of get lifted up. I think that would have been her impulse during all this. It's not, don't hunker down, check in on everybody.
That's beautifully said. Let's jump into your new project. Tell us everything about Marvel's MODOK. If you can use some more punk rock analogies.
She's a punk rocker.
From a previous punk rock girl.
Well, if I could cite the band Wire and their album Pink Flags. Now, that came, basically, MODOK is a villain who is just as jealous and angry at the other villains in the Marvel Universe as he is the heroes, because he is this 8th-dimensional brain, superior intellect, somehow on the D-level bottom tier of the villain. So he's struggling with a midlife crisis in terms of being a villain, and then also because of his hubris and his ego, he's like, not only can I rule the world as Emperor MODOK, I can also have a loving family in the suburbs who supports and worships me, both of which are completely falling apart because he is such a damaged ego and so crippled emotionally, and it's now all the birds are coming home to roost, so he's having to deal with both of these collapses at the same time, and it's really, really fun to write and really fun to perform.
So now I need to know what drew you to the role of a self-absorbed supervillain. I mean, he's going through a midlife crisis. Have you ever experienced anything like this? What is the connection?
I mean, look, I'm in show business. I've experienced pettiness and competition on my part. I've experienced envy and why is that person there and I'm here? Like, I think everyone, not just in entertainment, but in all walks of life have experienced that. And I'm like, what if we crank this up to Marvel Jack Kirby levels and really make it cosmic? So that's what I think made it really fun. At least that's how I related to it.
Any real life people that you based your supervillain on?
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna say.
Come on,
yeah, there were a couple of people that we maybe used as signposts, maybe
motivation,
inspiration.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Tori, I just wanted to say, is Alice going to be watching it? What is the audience? Is it for adults as well? Because it sounds like something I'm kind of struggling through a quarter midlife somewhat crisis. I would enjoy it. Would young kids too as well? I just want to know the audience.
Oh yeah, no, I think young kids and especially this will be like when you watch like a Pixar movie, or even like our daughter loves Stranger Things and WandaVision.
Oh yeah,
that
so good.
That she loves, and there's stuff as us adults going, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. So it works on both levels.
I love it. You are a true gem. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Patton. And don't forget to stream Patton's latest series, Marvel's MODOK, on Hulu, May 21st. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Am I good businessman? Yeah, about that. We're back.
Billions of cicadas are on their way. Some could start emerging by next week. And as they pop up out of the ground, an old urban legend is also popping up, claiming that you can make some serious cash if you find a cicada with a rare eye color. So let's verify. Can you actually get paid up to $1,000 for finding a cicada with blue eyes? Our sources are two entomologists, Dr. Paula Shrewsbury of the University of Maryland and Dr. Zoe Getman-Pickering with the George Washington University. They both told us pretty quickly that this one is false. It's a rumor that's been around for years.
There's a urban myth or urban legend that if you find a cicada with blue eyes, that you can get $1,000 for that, but that's not true.
That's not true.
Nobody giving $1,000
okay.
if you find a blue-eyed cicada.
Dr. Getman-Pickering says that she believes blue-eyed cicadas are more rare than blue-eyed humans, so if you do find one of these cicadas with blue eyes, it's a cool find, you're just not going to get paid for it. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. Some say three's a crowd, but not for three men in San Diego who are all in a relationship and raising babies together. Earlier, I spoke to them about their life as a throuple in today's DBL Spotlight.
Remember the movie Three Men and a Baby? About three men who band together to raise an infant? Well, Ian Jenkins, Alan Mayfield, and Jeremy Allen Hodges are just that. Three men raising babies together. The difference? They're all in a relationship with each other.
I just don't think humans are actually built to be monogamous animals. So having an open relationship allows you to learn more, grow more with an additional person.
Ian and Alan have been a couple for years, but they wanted to bring in another person to complement their relationship. So when they met Jeremy 9 years ago, they just felt he was the perfect fit.
We just had amazing chemistry with Jeremy.
Having a baby is not an easy task for many same-sex couples, never mind a throuple. But in 2017, in a landmark case, they fought to have all three of their names listed on their daughter's birth certificate and won.
Piper goes to preschool, and then we play with Parker, and we're teaching him to speak and play and have fun with him. It's really pretty ordinary.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, welcome to Daily Blast Live. When people hear the word throuple, they might not even know what to make of it or what that means. So, Ian, would you best describe your relationship in your words? Go ahead, you have the floor.
Sure. It's really not any more complicated than we're just an ordinary family, but instead of two parents or one parent, there's three. Really not any more complicated than that. And when people come over, it takes them about 10 seconds to adjust, and then they realize, hey, we're just regular people.
Jeremy, how did you feel about entering into a polyamorous relationship with Ian and Alan? Because I'm always questioning the jealousy aspect. Does that ever come into play, or is that something we stereotype from the outside?
I was never planning on being in a relationship like this. I had met a throuple before I met Alan and Ian, and that kind of opened my eyes to the possibility and what that entailed. But it's not for everyone. You have to have a certain personality, I think. But for us, it works really great. And I would say that there's not a lot of jealousy. That's not something that really plays a factor.
That's good to hear. Now, Alan, all three of you are legal parents to your 3-year-old daughter, Piper, and your 16-month-old son, Parker. Hello, boo-boos. Now, the road to get here was not easy. And I wanted to know what was the most surprising thing for you about that process.
We don't have a uterus, so we can't just easily make a baby. And so it takes a lot of planning and foresight. And so, being in a throuple, I definitely had reservations about what would this mean, what would the impact be for the children? Is this something that, even if we want to have children, is this something that would be a good idea for them, a good environment to raise them? And all I can say is it took years of us thinking about it and planning and trying to make steps to prepare for it. We didn't plan on necessarily being able to all be 3 legal parents. So we had a lot of legal preparation and contracts and trusts drawn up, and being able to be all legal was just icing on it. But it did feel important for us. Our mindset wasn't to be a trailblazer or to be pushing boundaries. It was really, how can I best protect my children?
Do you have any concerns about bringing your kids up into this world as a throuple, whether what the world may say about them, what your kids might think about themselves? Talk to me a little bit about that.
We're not naive, and obviously at some point this will affect our kids, but every kid is affected by something. Every kid has something that makes them different or stand out. A kid with 2 gay dads, at some point might get made fun of. And so the fact that the thing that makes our kids different is that they have an extra parent to love them, I think is pretty mild when it comes to something that sets you apart and makes you different. We've been very fortunate in our life. All of our friends, all of our families are incredibly supportive.
That's
so,
good.
Actually we haven't had any parent shaming. Now that Ian has his book out and there's lots of PR, I'm sure if we went to comment sections, we'd get parent shamed, but we shouldn't do that. And most people, once they meet us, they just really don't bat an eye because they see that we're all normal professionals that are just, raising their kids like everyone else.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to plug that book. Ian's book, of course, 3 Dads and a Baby, Adventures in Modern Parenting. It's out now. It's available on Amazon and at all major booksellers. Thanks again, you guys. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
If you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, basically it's an online currency that has no government backing and at this point is mostly seen as an investment.
They're trading their dollars for Bitcoin, they're trading their dollars for Ethereum, and they're making that trade in the hope that it will be more valuable in the future.
So why are people investing in a currency with a dog mascot called Dogecoin? Our sources are Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange company, and Matt Hogan, a cryptocurrency expert from Bitwise Asset Management. So Dogecoin?
It's ridiculous. Let's start with that point.
According to Matt Hogan, 2 software engineers saw people investing in cryptocurrency in 2013
and found it sort of humorous to create their own coin, but to model it after an internet dog.
Yeah, that Shiba Inu you've seen floating around as a meme forever. The whole thing was meant to be a joke, with cryptocurrency as the punchline. But last year, Bitcoin really started to take off. Then, after billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban started tweeting their support, Dogecoin followed.
It's one of those sort of speculative excesses that ride shotgun with disruptive innovation, and Bitcoin and crypto is a disruptive innovation with spectacular returns.
Now this one-time joke that was worth less than a penny is skyrocketing to the moon, as they say. It's worth more than 30 cents, which is a 7,400% growth, all based on what Matt says is speculation.
So maybe not surprising that you have an internet meme dog currency coming along for part of the ride.
With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
This May on DBL. Chilling first-hand accounts from women who escaped history's most notorious cults. From the sex trafficking ring that was NXIVM to Jonestown, a name synonymous with mass murder. Survivors are speaking out.
It wasn't until the wee hours of the morning that we were told that 500 had ran into the jungle and 500 were dead.
Don't miss our special series, Free from the Following, Cult Survivor Stories, this May, only on DBL.
I had chills that entire interview. I know. So you cannot miss a single moment of May, because let me tell you, those interviews are absolutely mind-boggling.
It's unbelievable. She's one of 11 that escaped Jonestown.
Wow.
One of 11.
Right.
Unbelievable. Can't wait for May.
Yep. All right, DBL's new every day. We will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a fantastic Monday, everybody. Take care.
we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
COVID vaccination card fraud. The crazy amount of fakes being sold on the internet. 3 men in a polyamorous relationship raising kids together share their story.
Instead of 2 parents or 1 parent, there's 3.
Billie Eilish like you've never seen her before. The bold magazine cover that's sparking a conversation about body positivity. And Kelly Osbourne and Patton Oswalt are on DBL Live today.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, May 3rd. I'm Sam here with Tori and Lindsay. Erica joins us from home. It is a ladies' day.
I can't believe it. All 4 of us.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day. I can feel it. No men to deal with today. All right, let's get right to it. We've got some good news on the pandemic here in America to start your Monday. So for the first time in more than 400 days, Los Angeles reported 0 COVID deaths. Wow. 0. And last night there was a giant concert there called Vax Live, the concert to reunite the world. Prince Harry was there in his first appearance back in the States since his grandfather's funeral. He got a standing ovation and told the crowd why it is so important that the vaccines are distributed across the globe. Take a look.
Because this pandemic will not end unless we act collectively with an unprecedented commitment to our shared humanity. The vaccine must be distributed to everyone, everywhere. We cannot rest or truly recover until there is fair distribution to every corner of the world.
Amen. The crowd was full of vaccinated healthcare workers and first responders. Look at them, all heroes who were invited to attend to thank them for their work. J.Lo was one of the performers. She brought her mom on stage to sing with her. Check out their rendition of Sweet Caroline. Wow. So Vax Live will air this Saturday on both CBS and ABC. Okay, so first and foremost, would you want to go to this concert? Would you
So I went to a wedding with 30 people. I'll say 90% of them were vaccinated, and I still wanted everybody to get away from me. So I don't know. Maybe it's just
trust it.
No, I'm just not ready to be. I'm thinking about New York subways when I used to live there. I'm just not ready to be that close to people.
Okay, so that was 30 people. This is 20,000.
So, yes, no.
I'm also having anxiety going to Target. I'm finding myself like really disliking people when they are on the same side of the street as me. So I'm having some anxiety, but I would have loved to go only because it's healthcare workers and I trust them.
You do,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And then Erica, here's the thing also. I mean, not only do we have 20,000 people there, but it is healthcare workers, and the goal is to have vaccines across the globe. I mean, you look at India, 400,000 cases just a couple of days ago in one day alone. So what would you do, Erica?
I mean, you know, it's a tricky thing because having gotten the vaccination just this weekend, you know, we were together with family, and unfortunately we're at a funeral, but like how we handled what happened on Saturday was very different from how we handled things back in January. There wasn't that nervous energy because so many of us have been vaccinated, but you're still incredibly cautious. So I think that people should just proceed with caution, but it's a very personal decision.
I would be cautious because of the fake vax cards, and we're going to get to that, so I don't want to jump the gun. Stay tuned. But there was something else that happened at the Vax Live concert that we have to discuss. Check out these paparazzi photos from over the weekend. You guys, that's J.Lo and Ben Affleck, not from way back when, from this weekend. They were riding together in the same SUV. They both appeared at the concert, but now, of course, there are all sorts of rumors about the two possibly rekindling their romance. So, gotta know how you feel, DBL Nation, gotta know how you all feel. How do you feel about J.Lo moving on by possibly getting back together with her ex? And would you ever get back together with
So I don't like running things back. I think like when it's done, it's done. But I do love J.Lo in general. And I think that one thing she's always going to do is move on. And I appreciate that she's already moving on. Whether this is a friendship or whatever, I don't think people with their exes are friends. But that just might be me and what I can and can't do. But I think that she's dating him again or trying to rekindle the romance.
I do too, and I'm going to say bring Bennifer back, please. First off, he's been shown at her house in the same SUV that she allegedly owns, being taken to her mansion several times by the paparazzi. So now they're in each other's homes. That's something else. Second, Sweet Caroline is the Red Sox anthem. Guess who likes good old Boston Red Sox? That's Ben Affleck.
Whoa, you went deep.
I did.
Oh my God. Erica's like, no.
Can't they just be friends? They were really close at one point, and they do speak very well of one another as far as friendship goes. So I'm going to take the other side here and just say that they're just offering support to one another. No sex.
People that are dating also speak well of each other.
Okay, no sex involved in my Erica?
Right.
I don't know. I do think it's interesting, though, because there are ways to not be seen together. So the idea that they've been caught in any capacity together seems like it's a very orchestrated effort, maybe just a little nonchalant dig.
To A-Rod. Yeah, I think it's an A-Rod dig, too.
I do love me a good dig.
Yeah.
I do love like when people like break up with someone and then they come back with like the revenge bod, or they come back and they're dating someone that the other person did not like.
Frenemy or something.
So perhaps A-Rod had a little with Ben Affleck, and this is her way of getting him back.
One day we're going to learn what means.
Lead up to your imagination.
I got you. I didn't get to talk to you guys about the vaccine card, but maybe we'll do it later in the show. If not, okay, we will. Then I'm not going to elaborate too much. Maybe, maybe not. But just know that there are some fake vaccine cards out there. So don't be fooled. We got to make sure that that those people, that the law comes down on them swiftly, because let me tell you, that is endangering so many people's lives. Okay, coming up on DBL, meet a modern family that is defying relationship and parenthood norms. They are 3 men loving and living together while raising 2 babies. Wow, okay. Plus, we're talking live with TV personality Kelly Osbourne. There she is.
Cutie.
Oh, there she is. So good to see you. She's keeping it 100 with DBL Nation coming up. And a Snow White attraction at Disneyland is getting a lot of politically correct pushback, why a portion of the ride is making some uncomfortable.
Closed captioning provided by...
This is a Smile Direct.
The chicken sandwich wars started back in 2019 when Popeyes released that new sandwich. People fell in love and posted about it on social media a lot. 2 weeks after it dropped, Popeyes announced they sold out. Let's just say its competitors noticed, and everyone from McDonald's to KFC launched their own chicken sandwich. Sales continue to soar despite McDonald's describing it as a tightening in the domestic chicken supply. But according to the Washington Post, we can't blame all this on the battle of the fast food big boys. Poultry companies say their biggest problem is finding labor. Some chicken processors were hit hard when coronavirus spread through their plants. And the pandemic has also increased the demand for fried chicken as people turn to comfort food that was easy to deliver. Then there was the winter storm in Texas back in February. It didn't just hit the Lone Star State. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Mississippi were all affected. Some big states for poultry farms. Those farmers dealt not only with extreme cold, but also power outages, resulting in some big losses. All of this adds up to a chicken shortage for all of us.
Monday on DBL. We're talking to the stars live. Kelly Osbourne, Patton Oswalt, Mary Lou Henner, and Derek Huff. Plus, your favorite sitcom stars of the 80s and the 90s. Melissa Joan Hart, Jaleel White, Kim Fields, and Candace Cameron Bure. Don't miss a day this May of DBL.
Ooh, it's going to be a good month. Okay, so Disneyland is back open in California, and it turns out they recently revamped their classic Snow White ride. But not everyone is happy about it. Now the ride ends with the True Love's kiss scene, which some argue is very troublesome, mainly because Snow White is unconscious and cannot give consent
I'm not laughing,
for the prince to kiss her. Of course, it is the prince's kiss which does indeed break the curse and save Snow White's life. But the two had not previously met. Have you guys ever really thought about that? So do you think this scene is troublesome now that you're thinking it through? And should it be included in this story, even if it gives kids mixed messages about consent? One other little caveat for you, Erica Cobb. Snow White is believed to be 14 and Prince Florian 27 to 31.
Weird.
Yeah. So that's a lot of information that I never knew. Listen, I don't want to gloss over what an important element of this conversation is, and that's the idea that by actually making this a topic, we are having the conversation about consent. And that may not have been the objective, but we're here now, and I think that there's no time that's too young to really address the concerns of consent.
What do they want people to do, though? Like, the alternative is that she just dies from biting an apple, and you tell kids apples kill you. Like, what is, I don't know what the alternative is. And I think there's a bigger issue with fairy tales that I think has gotten corrected with, like, Frozen and newer Coco, some other films, because we always had this man saving this damsel in distress young girl and telling young girls that you need to be saved by some random man. So I think there's a lot of issues, but, you know, they're cartoons. You got to take them with a grain of salt.
I agree, but I think, Tori, you know, as a mom, I've already had conversations with Sophie, who's 3.5, almost 4 years old, about consent, because certain relatives will run up and hug her and kiss her, and I can tell it makes her uncomfortable. So I pull her aside and I say it is A-okay for you to say, I don't want to hug right now. And I think that's okay. And I want her to not, because I grew up always wanting to please people. That means if somebody wanted to hug me, I would hug them, even if that made me cringe inside. And that can translate to certain young women who may be insecure or have that mentality that who knows what that will turn into later on when they become intimate. So I think it's an important conversation. I'm not saying that we have to rewrite everything, but I hope that parents have the conversation with their children.
Yeah, I think this is a little too woke if we go into changing the Disney ride, right? I think that's a little too PC. Great conversation to have, but just know that the Brothers Grimm, who created these way back in the day, the Ariels, the Lion Kings, all of these, they're dark. They're really dark. There's death, and that's somewhat important to kids to realize there's not all jolly good. So at some point, I like fairy tales for what they teach kids, but I like that Disney's moved it to like Tangled, where she saves herself and stuff like that.
Yeah, they have progressed, and I'm here for that. Coming up on DBL, Billie Eilish stuns with a new look in British Vogue, the empowering message she's promoting in the new photo shoot. And there she is, Kelly Osbourne, live. We're chatting with her right after the break. I do not see her, but she is there, and she's coming up. Do not go away.
Billions of cicadas are on their way. Some could start emerging by next week, and as they pop up out of the ground, an old urban legend is also popping up, claiming that you can make some serious cash if you find a cicada with a rare eye color. So let's verify. Can you actually get paid up to $1,000 for finding a cicada with blue eyes? Our sources are two entomologists, Dr. Paula Shrewsbury of the University of Maryland and Dr. Zoe Getman-Pickering with the George Washington University. They both told us pretty quickly that this one is false. It's a rumor that's been around for years.
There's a urban myth or urban legend that if you find a cicada with blue eyes, that you can get $1,000 for that. But that's not true.
That's not true.
Nobody giving $1,000
Okay.
if you find a blue-eyed cicada.
Dr. Getman-Pickering says that she believes blue-eyed cicadas are more rare than blue-eyed humans. So if you do find one of these cicadas with blue eyes, it's a cool find. You're just not going to get paid for it. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. Okay, we are waiting on Kelly Osbourne. So she has some technical difficulties. We're going to give her a moment. You had a correction?
Yes, I want to make sure the Lion King is not Brothers Grimm, and Ariel, the Little Mermaid, is actually Hans Christian Andersen. I wanted to get that right. But you got Little Red Riding Hood with Brothers Grimm. You got Cinderella. You got Rapunzel. All those really grim storylines.
Little Red Riding Hood terrified me as a kid.
It's, you know, what is it, Hansel and Gretel? They eat the kids.
Oh, yeah.
The witch eats them.
Right. She
in
fattens
the oven.
them up, puts them in a cage like birds, and then is about to boil them.
How do you feel about reading this to your new child?
I don't know. I might pick different books. There's a lot of good books that I saw at Sam's baby shower last year that I might pick up instead.
That's a really fun thing to do at a baby shower. Now, Lindsay obviously is expecting. We're so happy for her. And what you can do is you can ask people in lieu of gifts, bring a book that you feel strongly attached to and then write a message in it. And that's my favorite thing. Every time I read certain books to Miles or Sophie, I will see your message. I'll see your message.
That's so cute.
Yeah, and it's really, it's just a little bit more connected. And as they get older, they'll say, oh my gosh, Auntie Tori wrote that to me. You know what I mean?
And then you can have like a little start a library for them. And I'm sure when you get older, most people have like an area they keep their books. So it can just always be like part of the growing process.
And you guys just interrupt me when Kelly's available. Okay, good. So she's still working on getting her phone rebooted. So we'll be soon joined by Kelly Osbourne. How are you feeling, by the way? Because a lot of our viewers are just wondering, how is Lindsay doing?
I'm doing well. I actually just am starting to feel pregnant. I mean, I guess I should have. I've been feeling nauseous in the beginning of the first trimester, but that's over now. But I actually just feel like getting out of the car is like really grandma. You know, it's just like a whole issue. Like, and standing up just takes me. And Colin jokes on me like, okay, drama, get the violins out. But I'm like, no. I seriously.
Colin needs to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. He's walking on thin ice. But I seriously like take a long time to get up and like just take my time walking around because I'm clumsy in general. So this could go bad if I don't watch my steps.
And it's just as you get closer and closer to the due date, you're going to get bigger and bigger, and then your whole like equilibrium is completely off. It's bizarre.
And don't they say like in the I guess at a certain time you start gaining like a pound a week, which I can't fathom because I feel like, okay, this is as big as I should get and that's the bottom line. And my doctor's like, no, you'll be gaining a pound a week in about a couple more weeks.
Yeah. Are you guys, at this point, are you guys starving hungry all the time? Like, are you just like constantly wanting to eat?
I was always hungry.
You were always hungry.
Yes.
You?
Yeah, I think Colin and I eat about the same portions at this point, which is embarrassing.
I love that.
Like he has a plate and I have the same exact plate, so I need to chill out.
And I'm being told we are going to move our live interview with Kelly Osbourne later in the show. We're going to give her some time to fix those technical difficulties. We don't want to eat up time in her interview, so stay tuned for that. Here's something that a lot of you have been talking about.
Oh boy.
Will Smith is also sporting a new look. The actor posted this shirtless pic on Instagram with the caption, I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm in the worst shape of my life, but many people in the comment section praised Will for his dad bod. Just for reference, here's a look at Will from his Bad Boys days to now.
I gotta be honest, I like seeing a man deal with bodies. I don't think we talk a lot about men and bodies. I don't think we do that. So I'm really glad to see this. But I love that Will was like, I make this look good in Men in Black, and he's just like, I straight up look bad. Like, I think that's good to hear, especially from a person of color who's a man. We don't necessarily hear that much from it. So I thought it was a really honest statement.
I feel like nobody wants to see Will Smith like that. I'm sorry. I know that's not right to say. He's like, you know, he's been in great shape in all these movies. It's like, come on now. And when you see something like that, you're like, man, I'm getting old. Man, like a lot of things go through your head, and I'm just like, not Will Smith.
I think the pandemic hit him like it hit us.
Erica, how did you feel about this, seeing this photo?
Y'all need to stop. Will looks good. He always looks good. Will can do no wrong. I don't see what the big deal is. In fact, in my mind, most people that we see with like amazing bodies because they're getting ready for roles look like this in their off time. So I think it's a healthy balance. Like nobody stands shredded all the time.
You know what I found odd about it? Because first of all, when I scrolled and saw the photo, I loved it. I found it relatable. I loved the expression on his face. It seemed like your uncle in the backyard. It was just perfect. But what I thought was interesting is when I scrolled down the comments, everybody was either cheering him on, rooting him on, as opposed to if we saw any female actress dressed, you know, with her stomach out, the comment section would have been...
That's a fair point.
Very
Like
nice.
if Amy Schumer had posted that and been like, guys, I'm in the worst shape of my life, or Chelsea Handler, whatever.
Amy Schumer, I would look at somebody that we're used to seeing with a ripped bod.
Looks good, and then,
you know, I think the
comments would have been very
different.
Wow.
But we love you, Will. We really do. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
If you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, basically it's an online currency that has no government backing and at this point is mostly seen as an investment.
They're trading their dollars for Bitcoin, they're trading their dollars for Ethereum, and they're making that trade in the hope that it will be more valuable in the future.
So why are people investing in a currency with a dog mascot called Dogecoin? Our sources are Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange company, and Matt Hogan, a cryptocurrency expert from Bitwise Asset Management. So Dogecoin?
It's ridiculous. Let's start with that point.
According to Matt Hogan, 2 software engineers saw people investing in cryptocurrency in 2013
and found it sort of humorous to create their own coin, but to model it after an internet dog.
Yeah, that Shiba Inu you've seen floating around as a meme forever. The whole thing was meant to be a joke, with cryptocurrency as the punchline. But last year, Bitcoin really started to take off. Then, after billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban started tweeting their support, Dogecoin followed.
It's one of those sort of speculative excesses that ride shotgun with disruptive innovation, and Bitcoin and crypto is a disruptive innovation with spectacular returns.
Now this one-time joke that was worth less than a penny is skyrocketing to the moon, as they say. It's worth more than 30 cents, which is a 7,400% growth, all based on what Matt says is speculation.
So maybe not surprising that you have an internet meme dog currency coming along for part of the ride.
With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. Billie Eilish is showing off a whole new side of herself. The singer is featured on the cover of British Vogue with her new platinum blonde hair, wearing sexy lingerie. Billie said she wanted to look like a 1940s, 1950s pinup star for the shoot. She also addressed any potential backlash by saying body positivity is about doing whatever you want. She added, quote, showing your body and showing your skin or not should not take any respect from you. So it's a dramatic departure for Billie, who we are used to seeing covered up in baggy clothing. So here's the thing. It's always so awkward talking, Erica, about other people's bodies and her making choices. But the reality of it, you go on her Instagram and she's alienated some of her fans, which is crazy to me. People saying you've gone Hollywood, you've sold out. Are we ever going to move past this, do you think?
Well, you know, first of all, Billie Eilish is 19 years old, and the idea that this was the way that she chose to present herself to the world previously, it makes sense to me that there would be an evolution. No one's going to know, especially at that age, how they're going to evolve and move in the world. So I think to say that, or to have the expectation that she could never show this side of herself is very limited in scope. But her fans, most of them are also very young and probably found a lot of solace and a lot of validation by her saying, I don't want to be known for what my body looks like. So I'm sure there's a lot of confusion for a lot of these very young fans.
And she's done a cover, or not a cover, but a story, a detailed story for Vogue about her body dysmorphia issues, and she's gone into detail and become a spokesperson for it. So at the same time that I do believe in growth, I think that she also may be alienating some people that are like, oh, you were wearing the baggy clothes, I related to you, and just kind of like leaving them hanging out there because it's like, oh, well, I grew past this a little bit. Unless I didn't read the whole article in Vogue, so maybe she is going into detail talking about it, but I think there are a lot of people, young people specifically, that were looking to her like, okay, you know, what should I do? I'm following your lead.
But it's also like really important to me that that message is also that you can grow, right? We tend to put child stars and we want to keep them at that Billie Eilish with the green hair and the baggy thing. And she's a human being and a woman, and as she grows, I think that maybe her fans can understand they can too. It doesn't have to be a pinup, but it could be something else. So I think it's a good message.
Interesting. All right, so if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around, here is what's coming up. You'll meet 3 guys who are in a relationship with each other and raising a growing family of their own. And we've got Kelly Osbourne live. Yes, we got the technical difficulties figured out. There she is. Do not miss Kelly. She's an open book, and we can't wait to hear what she has to say. And we have to give a big old thank you to our coworkers tuning in from home during the pandemic. There they are. Hey, 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 Megan. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Tori and Lindsay, and we have finally our special guest joining us now, Kelly Osbourne. She became a household name at just 17, thanks to the hit reality show that we all loved, The Osbournes. She has since dominated the TV airwaves as a host and our social feeds with her fashion. We're talking about her brand new podcast today. Please welcome the one and only Kelly Osbourne.
Yeah, yo!
Good girl.
Hi.
Kelly, we have so much to talk to you about, but I know that while you were figuring out the technical difficulties, you were overhearing our conversation.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it. We're glad that you figured it out. But, you know, you've always been very transparent and open book, and you've and a lot of young women have related to you about body positivity. And we wanted to know your thoughts. We were just speaking about Billie Eilish and her wearing something that her fans are not used to her seeing, right, in like that 1940s pinup. And some of her fans have voiced that they feel abandoned. What do you make of that? How does somebody somehow please their fans when they're just trying to stay true to themselves?
I have to be honest with you. I think it's really selfish of her fans, because I was in that position when I was 18. I had an album and I was touring, and they were very cognizant of like never showing cleavage, always had to keep covering up, and because I had really big boobs when I was really young. And so I think that Billie Eilish, not to speak on behalf of her because I don't even know her, had a similar thing. But the truth is, like, we're human beings. We evolve. What I liked when I was 17, I hated when I was 18. And I was completely different when I was 19. You're evolving as a human. You're figuring out what works for you, what doesn't. I think this is actually a very brave move for her, because she's coming out and saying, I'm owning my body. This is me, and this is who I want to be. I want to try something new. So instead of saying you've abandoned us, it might not be something that they like because they prefer the other way of dressing, but at the same time, she's expressing herself. Nobody should ever, ever, ever be told how to express themselves.
Well said.
How to portray themselves to the world. And that's the way she wants to do it. And I think she looks beautiful.
Yeah, she looks stunning. She looks absolutely stunning. Thank you for that. So we also want to check in with you. 2 weeks ago, you announced your relapse. Now, addiction hits very close to home for me, and I really appreciate your transparency. It breaks down that stigma. You're helping people by speaking out. How are you doing right now?
You know, really good. I am very open about what it is that happened and what I'm doing to get myself back on track, because it's all part of this journey. And I need to be honest, because it's the only way I know how to hold myself accountable. I am doing an outpatient program again, just like a little therapy pick-me-up, for lack of a better term. And it's great. Like, I want to get to the root of what it is that made me believe that I could drink like a normal person, because I can't, and just focus on staying happy and healthy, because I really was before I started drinking again. Like, I don't understand what happened, and that's the nature of addiction, and how everything can just be fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what happened? Like, I didn't expect this. So it was difficult, a bump in the road, but we all have it. So I just wanted to be open and to the point about it, and kind of tackle it head on rather than lying about it, because I believe you're only as sick as your secrets. And if I could have gone on and nobody would have known.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would have made me any better.
I think you're saving so many lives right now by saying this and just being open and honest, and I just appreciate that. Also, such a fan from the Osbournes. Okay. Moving on.
Thank you.
I was like, oh my God, I have to freak out. I did want to ask you about getting sober, and is it harder being an Osbourne and having to get sober? I also kind of wanted to go off script here and just ask you, what are your thoughts on being California sober? I know we heard from Demi Lovato that she sometimes drinks, sometimes smokes weed, and you're saying I can't. Wanted to know your take on what that means to you.
Okay, so I can't sometimes drink. That doesn't happen for me. So I don't understand that. That doesn't fall into my brain at all. That's not an option for me. Look, for me, life is the pursuit of happiness, and it's about what makes you happy. If everybody works differently. There's not one set of rules for everyone because when it comes to happiness, because it doesn't work that way. People have asked me about this. The only thing I can say is when people are like that, it means that they need a little bit of love and support, and something's not really going right in their life. So instead of sitting here and criticizing and dissecting her like everyone else does, I'm just going to sit here and say, I think a little bit more love and support and kindness, and I don't agree with it. That's all.
I appreciate that honesty. Thank you.
Well, before we go, your podcast comes out tomorrow, May 4th. I'm so excited.
It does. I'm so excited.
Is it true that you picked that date because it's a Star Wars day?
Ooh, tell us.
Yeah. Because I'm like, may the 4th be with you. We're going to be with you on May the 4th, And I'm a Star Wars nerd. You can thank my brother for that. But yeah, that's why I picked it. And, our motto is what you call freaks, we call family. Everyone's welcome.
Oh,
and
love that.
It's about, everything. Nothing is off limits. We want this podcast to be that 45 minutes of just mental freedom where you can switch off and listen to something stupid or reverent or funny or health education or whatever it may be we're talking about that will make you forget about, am I going to be able to pay my mortgage? Am I going to be able to feed my kids? Like whatever it is that's going on, just a mental reprieve for 45 minutes. And that was our mission in doing this.
And I got to tell you, your background's giving me joy. All those cause dolls.
I love
it's
that.
like goals. I love that. I'm obsessed.
We're all jealous over here for many reasons. Thank you so much, Kelly Osbourne, for stopping by DBL. Make sure to check out her podcasting
Thank you so much for
debut.
having me, ladies.
We absolutely adore you. The Kelly Osbourne and Jeff Beecher Show. You got to check it out on Podcast One. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
And coming up on DBL, you've heard of couple goals. But is this modern family throuple goals? We'll introduce you to 3 guys who are in love with each other and raising 2 infants. Plus, we're talking live. There he is with actor and comedian Patton Oswalt. He's got a new show on Hulu, and he's going to tell us all about it. Oh, yeah, he blew us a kiss.
Yeah, come on now.
Yes, I feel
Come on now. Come on.
One right back.
Closed captioning.
2019, when Popeyes released that new sandwich, people fell in love and posted about it on social media a lot. 2 weeks after it dropped, Popeyes announced they sold out. Let's just say its competitors noticed, and everyone from McDonald's to KFC launched their own chicken sandwich. Sales continue to soar despite McDonald's describing it as a tightening in the domestic chicken supply. But according to the Washington Post, we can't blame all this on the battle of the fast food big boys. Poultry companies say their biggest problem is finding labor. Some chicken processors were hit hard when coronavirus spread through their plants. And the pandemic has also increased the demand for fried chicken as people turn to comfort food that was easy to deliver. Then there was the winter storm in Texas back in February. It didn't just hit the Lone Star State. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Mississippi were all affected. Some big states for poultry farms. Those farmers dealt not only with extreme cold, but also power outages, resulting in some big losses. All of this adds up to a chicken shortage for all of us.
Dad, one of your dumb spilled acid all over my boyfriend.
Come on, guys, acid is expensive.
Modoc, can I talk to you for a minute? I was listening at the door, and just my 2 cents, but maybe it's time to let AIM go.
Never. Modoc doesn't give up. Flailerg isn't even in my vocabulary.
Were you trying to say failure?
Yes, I literally deleted it from my memory banks.
Welcome back to DBL. You just watched a clip from Marvel's MODOK, an upcoming animated comedy series on Hulu about a supervillain facing his biggest challenge yet, a midlife crisis. We love it. Patton Oswalt created the show and stars in it. He joins us live. Hey.
Guys.
How are you?
I am really, really good. How are you guys?
We're doing wonderful. We're so glad that you could join us. Now, before we get to MODOK, we want to get your take on vaccines. Why do you think more Americans aren't getting their shots?
Because of all of the insane misinformation out there and all of the, I don't know. There's just, I didn't realize there was this big of a population that doubted vaccines. I mean, when the polio vaccine came out in 1955, we were still 2 years away from satellites, and everyone just lined up to get it.
Yep.
Now we're like, we've got world brains in our pockets, and there's satellites all over the planet, and there's robots on Mars, and people are like, that vaccine's got wizard poison in it.
I was hoping
how we went backward that way.
Right. Yeah. I was hoping he'd do the rah, 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 rah. That voice is my favorite. Patton, I'm a huge fan. I also follow your Instagram, and I wanted to say hi to Alice, your daughter, who I think is just wonderful and marvelous, and she's growing up to be so lovely. I wanted to ask you, as a comic, has it been harder or easier to joke now that the world's sort of fallen apart?
It was way harder to joke when it was falling apart. There's a like, wow, when things were awful in the 80s, think of how good punk rock was. It's like, well, first off, I'll give back, never mind the Sex Pistols if, the air isn't on fire. Like, it's not worth that trade-off to have the world burn down to get a couple of good albums out of that. And also, the really good punk rock came out during Carter, and then the grunge movement started right when we got rid of, or really flourished right when we got rid of Bush. So I just think that's a myth of like bad times creates great art. It's like, how about we can have both. You can have good times and great art at the same time. I don't know why we fetishize that.
Now, it's been 5 years since your late wife, Michelle McNamara, passed away. So we're looking at your Instagram tribute right now. What advice do you think that she would give you to deal with this crazy year 2020?
She would... I think she'd be laughing at a lot of the craziness that's going on the way that I am trying to, but she would also go check in on your family, check in on your friends.
Yeah.
The more, if your impulse is to check on other people, that spreads and we all kind of get lifted up. I think that would have been her impulse during all this. It's not, don't hunker down. Check in on everybody.
It's beautifully said. Let's jump into your new project. Tell us everything about Marvel's MODOK. If you can use some more punk rock analogies.
She's a punk rocker.
From a previous punk rock girl.
Well, if I could cite the band Wire and their album Pink Flags. Now, that came... No, basically, MODOK is a villain who is just as jealous and angry at the other villains in the Marvel Universe as he is the heroes, because he is this 8th-dimensional brain, superior intellect, somehow on the D-level bottom tier of the villain. So he's struggling with a midlife crisis in terms of being a villain, and then also because of his hubris and his ego, he's like, not only can I rule the world as Emperor MODOK, I can also have a loving family in the suburbs who supports and worships me, both of which are completely falling apart because he is such a damaged ego and so crippled emotionally. And it's now all the birds are coming home to roost. So he's having to deal with both of these collapses at the same time. And it's really, really fun to write and really fun to perform.
So now I need to know what drew you to the role of a self-absorbed supervillain. I mean, he's going through a midlife crisis. Have you ever experienced anything like this? What is the connection?
I mean, look, I'm in show business. I've experienced pettiness and competition on my part. I've experienced envy and why is that person there and I'm here? Like, I think everyone, not just in entertainment, but in all walks of life have experienced that. And I'm like, what if we crank this up to Marvel Jack Kirby levels and really make it cosmic? So that's what I think made it really fun. At least that's how I related to it.
Any real life people that you based your supervillain on?
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna say.
Come on,
yeah, there were a couple of people that we maybe used as signposts, maybe
motivation,
inspiration.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Tori, I just wanted to say, is Alice going to be watching it? What is the audience? Is it for adults as well? Because it sounds like something I'm kind of struggling through a quarter midlife somewhat crisis. I would enjoy it. Would young kids too as well? I just want to know the audience.
Oh yeah, no, I think young kids, and especially this will be like when you watch like a Pixar movie, or even like our daughter loves Stranger Things and WandaVision.
Oh yeah,
that
so good.
That she loves, and there's stuff as us adults going, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. So it works on both levels.
I love it. You are a true gem. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Patton. And don't forget to stream Patton's latest series, Marvel's MODOK, on Hulu, May 21st. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Am I good businessman? Yeah, about.
Billions of cicadas are on their way. Some could start emerging by next week. And as they pop up out of the ground, an old urban legend is also popping up, claiming that you can make some serious cash if you find a cicada with a rare eye color. So let's verify. Can you actually get paid up to $1,000 for finding a cicada with blue eyes? Our sources are two entomologists, Dr. Paula Shrewsbury of the University of Maryland and Dr. Zoe Getman-Pickering with the George Washington University. They both told us pretty quickly that this one is false. It's a rumor that's been around for years.
There's a urban myth or urban legend that if you find a cicada with blue eyes, that you can get $1,000 for that. But that's not true.
That's not true.
Nobody giving $1,000
Okay.
if you find a blue-eyed cicada.
Dr. Getman-Pickering says that she believes blue-eyed cicadas are more rare than blue-eyed humans. So if you do find one of these cicadas with blue eyes, it's a cool find. You're just not going to get paid for it. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. Some say three's a crowd, but not for three men in San Diego who are all in a relationship and raising babies together. Earlier, I spoke to them about their life as a throuple in today's DBL Spotlight.
Remember the movie Three Men and a Baby? About three men who band together to raise an infant? Well, Ian Jenkins, Alan Mayfield, and Jeremy Allen Hodges are just that. Three men raising babies together. The difference? They're all in a relationship with each other.
I just don't think humans are actually built to be monogamous animals. So having an open relationship allows you to learn more, grow more with an additional person.
Ian and Alan have been a couple for years, but they wanted to bring in another person to complement their relationship. So when they met Jeremy 9 years ago, they just felt he was the perfect fit.
We just had amazing chemistry with Jeremy.
Having a baby is not an easy task for many same-sex couples, never mind a throuple. But in 2017, in a landmark case, they fought to have all three of their names listed on their daughter's birth certificate and won.
Piper goes to preschool, and then we play with Parker, and we're teaching him to speak and play and have fun with him. It's really pretty ordinary.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, welcome to Daily Blast Live. When people hear the word throuple, they might not even know what to make of it or what that means. So, Ian, would you best describe your relationship in your words? Go ahead, you have the floor.
Sure. It's really not any more complicated than we're just an ordinary family, but instead of two parents or one parent, there's three. Really not any more complicated than that. And when people come over, it takes them about 10 seconds to adjust, and then they realize, hey, we're just regular people.
Jeremy, how did you feel about entering into a polyamorous relationship with Ian and Alan? Because I'm always questioning the jealousy aspect. Does that ever come into play, or is that something we stereotype from the outside?
I was never planning on being in a relationship like this. I had met a throuple before I met Alan and Ian, and that kind of opened my eyes to the possibility and what that entailed. But it's not for everyone. You have to have a certain personality, I think. But for us, it works really great. And I would say that there's not a lot of jealousy. That's not something that really plays a factor.
That's good to hear. Now, Alan, all three of you are legal parents to your 3-year-old daughter, Piper, and your 16-month-old son, Parker. Hello, boo-boos. Now, the road to get here was not easy. And I wanted to know what was the most surprising thing for you about that process.
We don't have a uterus, so we can't just easily make a baby. And so it takes a lot of planning and foresight. And so, being in a throuple, I definitely had reservations about what would this mean, what would be impacting for the children. Is this something that, even if we want to have children, is this something that would be a good idea for them, a good environment to raise them? And all I can say is it took years of us thinking about it and planning and trying to make steps to prepare for it. We didn't plan on necessarily being able to all be 3 legal parents. So we had a lot of legal preparation and contracts and trusts drawn up, and being able to be all legal was just icing on the cake. But it did feel important for us. Our mindset wasn't to be a trailblazer or to be pushing boundaries. It was really, how can I best protect my children?
Do you have any concerns about bringing your kids up into this world as a throuple, whether what the world may say about them, what your kids might think about themselves? Talk to me a little bit about that.
We're not naive, and obviously at some point this will affect our kids, but every kid is affected by something. Every kid has something that makes them different or stand out. A kid with 2 gay dads, at some point might get made fun of. And so the fact that the thing that makes our kids different is that they have an extra parent to love them, I think is pretty mild when it comes to something that sets you apart and makes you different. We've been very fortunate in our life. All of our friends, all of our families are incredibly supportive.
That's
so,
good.
Actually we haven't had any parent shaming. Now that Ian has his book out and there's lots of PR, I'm sure if we went to comment sections, we'd get parent shamed, but we try not to do that. And most people, once they meet us, they just really don't bat an eye because they see that we're all normal professionals that are just, raising their kids like everyone else.
Ian, Alan, and Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to plug that book. Ian's book, of course, 3 Dads and a Baby, Adventures in Modern Parenting. It's out now. It's available on Amazon and at all major booksellers. Thanks again, you guys. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
If you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, basically it's an online currency that has no government backing and at this point is mostly seen as an investment.
They're trading their dollars for Bitcoin, they're trading their dollars for Ethereum, and they're making that trade in the hope that it will be more valuable in the future.
So why are people investing in a currency with a dog mascot called Dogecoin? Our sources are Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange company, and Matt Hogan, a cryptocurrency expert from Bitwise Asset Management. So Dogecoin?
It's ridiculous. Let's start with that point.
According to Matt Hogan, 2 software engineers saw people investing in cryptocurrency in 2013
and found it sort of humorous to create their own coin, but to model it after an internet dog.
Yeah, that Shiba Inu you've seen floating around as a meme forever. The whole thing was meant to be a joke, with cryptocurrency as the punchline. But last year, Bitcoin really started to take off. Then, after billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban started tweeting their support, Dogecoin followed.
It's one of those sort of speculative excesses that ride shotgun with disruptive innovation, and Bitcoin and crypto is a disruptive innovation with spectacular returns.
Now this one-time joke that was worth less than a penny is skyrocketing to the moon, as they say. It's worth more than 30 cents, which is a 7,400% growth, all based on what Matt says is speculation.
So maybe not surprising that you have an internet meme dog currency coming along for part of the ride.
With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
This May on DBL. Chilling first-hand accounts from women who escaped history's most notorious cults. From the sex trafficking ring that was NXIVM to Jonestown, a name synonymous with mass murder. Survivors are speaking out.
It wasn't until the wee hours of the morning that we were told that 500 had ran into the jungle and 500 were dead.
Don't miss our special series, Free from the Following, Cult Survivor Stories, this May, only on DBL.
I had chills that entire interview. I know. So you cannot miss a single moment of May, because let me tell you, those interviews are absolutely mind-boggling.
It's unbelievable. She's one of 11 that escaped Jonestown.
Wow.
One of 11.
Right.
Unbelievable. Can't wait for May.
Yep. All right, DBL's new every day. We will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a fantastic Monday, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.